And we're back, hopefully. Sorry about that little interruption. It was very weird. The screen was just blocked. Nothing would move. Here we are. Sorry about that. Back to business. Jordan van Foreys will also be thinking, ugh. Sorry about that. To himself.
I think Rook C6 is a very good choice here, because I honestly think if he allowed B7, there could have been potential issues.
So you're saying like whatever, H6, B7, Rook E8, and the Rook doesn't have enough squares here?
Yeah, in particular, forcing me to play Bishop A4 is probably a bad idea. But even after, let's say, Rook D8, I want to go Bishop C7, Rook F8. And I was wondering if I have enough time to go Bishop A4, G7, C8. Even probably not. Probably the C pawn runs fast enough to stop that. But definitely White has an immediate draw with repetition. So by playing Rook C6, Jordan makes sure that the B pawn gets killed off straight away. And he will still be the side playing for a win there, because he has like 5 pawns for a bishop there. But they will all be...
two bishops.
They will all be on the light squares, and I think the one bishop on d4 will control like 4 of them, which is...
It's one diagonal to hold them all.
Bishop c7, I don't know. I think bishop c7 is actually more precise than b7 here, because it forces you to take anyway. You cannot allow b7 to happen. And now c4, bishop d1, let's say, followed by bishop d4.
Looks like draw.
Yeah, I don't think white is even necessarily worse. Yeah.
We have to start running here. Yeah, e5, bishop c7.
Yeah, I think we stopped the runners quite comfortably here. I think we actually have to be greedy and not
play h5.
Play h5. White plays bishop d4. We play bishop g6, and we hope to get the king over to d6 and then play e5. But yeah, feels like the king will be on f4 sooner than our king will be on d6, and yeah, maybe bishop f5 threaten g5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bunch of pawns. But still, that'd be heartbreak for Jordan.
Yeah, this had to be completely... I mean, we know at least one point where he was more or less winning by force, and there must have been more further down the road. A huge miss, obviously, by Jordan.
How is this game progressing?
Wish is better, but...
Will you take on e6?
Probably not. I would very much like to, but we just don't have enough pieces on the board for these, fanciful positional exchange sacrifices. Add a few more light pieces, I would definitely be interested. I think we go rook e4 and we play this slow. Or rook c3. I don't know why I chose rook e4 specifically. Maybe there's actually an argument for playing rook c3 and, rook behind the passer school of thought. Definitely has a place here. Yeah, this is... I think we're probably still within the drawing margins because of how good of a blocking square c5 is, and how out of place the knight on b5 is, because it really isn't participating very much in the game, apart from doing a very good job of protecting the pawn on a3. You play something like h7, h5 here, and you say it will be very, very difficult for you to make progress against this specific setup. But yeah, not a great deal of fun to be had for white here.
Nope. So Jordan will continue trying, we think, with limited chances for success now? I'm not sure. So many pawns.
It is 5, yeah. Normally you're still heavily favored with 5 against bishop, but here, the combination of how the structure looks and the fact that it's a bishop on f7 and not f6. With a dark square bishop, you would think this is probably just winning for black, but with a light square bishop and all these pawns on the light squares, I think white saves this every now and again, maybe even more than every now and again.
Yeah. I have to say, this does look like a beautiful game of checkers.
Yeah, play g6 next move.
Yeah. It's not a beautiful game of chess or poker, but maybe the most beautiful game of checkers I've ever seen.
Apparently, we missed an opportunity to discuss this yesterday, and I feel very sad because it's a topic very dear to my heart. There was at some point a position in the game between Dubov and Artemiev where, apart from a traitorous bishop, no, I think black had a king on g7 in that Karo, and apart from the black king on g7, every white piece was on a dark square, and every black piece was on a light square.
Oh,
Which is something that you don't see very often, positions like these.
Tekjan will work very hard on bringing that position to us. Oh boy. Please don't do anything strange. By the way, we've completely ignored, for no real reason, our friends in the challengers. And
Probably a bit, yeah, when the queen was on d7, probably moved like 21 with black.
21 with black.
Yeah, that's the one.
How can you not play king g8?
Yeah, it's really, really upsetting that he hasn't played king g8 here.
You lost anyway, at least play king g8.
Exactly. We've been ignoring what exactly? I feel like we haven't been ignoring anything.
The challengers. Another style.
The challenges we have been ignoring altogether today. There's been a bunch of draws. I had the challenges open on my phone, cheating a little bit, and Snake is in trouble against Irvin today.
Dutch on Dutch crime.
Yeah.
It's a very Irvin position too. Some queen endgame, passed pawns running. Snake probably in time trouble. So is Irvin, in fairness.
Yeah, but just take on f4 twice. I think we just win, right? Takes e3, fe3, and eventually the king will find safety there. So, I mean, on a board as empty like as this, eventually we will we will get the king over to whatever it is, b5, and win. So this, I think, might be the only decisive game of the round, unless Nihal also wins, which will please you.
Let's see what else is going on. Keimer versus David Anton was agreed peacefully. Janov Lucas van Forest draw. That's a good result for Lucas.
Yeah, that was.
Why is this a draw? What's going on here?
There was a repetitive rook h4 and then back. Yeah, that was a wild Catalan game with plenty of things happening, but ended up peacefully. Niels made a draw against Nodjerbek. Another Catalan. Yeah, another Catalan.
Oh, this line doesn't look like very inspired opening prep by Niels, who's normally a sharp, well-prepared player. I could be wrong on their subtleties here. I don't understand, but this.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was pushing for very much. I think Max Warmerdam missed his first big chance to win a game. I think he was just up a pawn somewhere on move 20, 22.
Yeah, he had no Chinese food yesterday. Hang on, this line. Okay, doesn't matter. Just let me click through it. So far, it looks like a very good whatever. Nimzo, Chigorin, however you get this.
Yeah, e4 is just such a striking decision here. You know, how hard must you dislike your position here to just play e3, e4?
Yeah.
Seemingly the Mamedov game is about to end before our very eyes in some kind of a. Although at least there already has been one repetition of rook b8, rook a7, rook a8, rook b7.
Jake Lones is saying there isn't a Chinese foods restaurant in Vik. That's true, where you can order Chinese food from Vik.
And apparently exciting things are happening in the Fallujah game, so we should perhaps return to that. Feels like it might be a very quiet round in the challengers, with maybe, well, clearly Irvin will win, and maybe Nihal will convert his advantage.
Where was Nichal's game?
Up top, yeah. This looks quite promising, actually. I think it is winning.
All right, back to the Masters. Smate's fishing for some perpetuals, but probably
Yeah, should be a way to avoid it.
will not match. Where Magnus and Vichy at? Magnus and Vichy at.
Yeah, h5 here, but let's have a look at Firouz again.
All right.
There's been a lot of changes there, and from what I read, I have a feeling a very important turning point was move 37 for white. Yeah, I think once again I read in chat. I don't know how much we should trust it, that Queen B2 was winning, but nothing else was, and Queen B2 has not been played by Ali Reza.
So he went for the endgame. Takes Rook D4. Bishop B3. Rook C5. Rook C1 was not great, I guess. Rook E3. Let's count pawns. 5 versus 5.
Equal material so far, and it's. Hang on a second. Isn't this move 40?
It is move 40.
Why do they have 50 minutes? I can understand why Firouzja has 50 minutes, but Jeffrey shouldn't have 51 minutes yet, right? I already played Bishop A2. Okay. So they can now both take stock. I was wondering if you could just take on d4 and play Bishop d5, but clearly Jeffrey didn't fancy that position.
It's also being pointed out they meant 36 Queen B2,
okay.
not 37.
Even better when chat clarifies. And yeah, it does feel like somewhere around here there might be a tactical decision which works out. But I think they were, judging from the 51-51 we've seen on our screens, they were probably both in quite sharp time trouble. So not that unusual to see some tactical details missed.
Yeah, so what are you predicting right now?
Well, white is still better. I don't know if it's enough for a full point, but white clearly still better. There's no Rook A4, Rook D1 check though. E7 is one move that I'm very interested in, just to make sure it survives. I guess King G8. But King G8 now, maybe Rook A4 is very strong. I hesitate to bring this to your attention, but shall we attempt or not?
What's that?
The thing that has already led to our downfall once.
Yeah, I'm a little scared to try again, but then again, I was taught that if at first you don't succeed,
parachute jumping is not for you.
Dust yourself off and try again. Also the parachute. Yeah, let's do a little housekeeping. Let's bring up results, standings, all that good stuff, and then take a deep breath. Try to decide if we want to quiz it up again. So in the master section, we still have 4 games running. And the current situation looks like this. Wesley So, very solid, undefeated, 4.5 out of 7. Ali Reza pushing to take the sole lead should he win against Jeffrey Zhong. Jump to 5 out of 7. Jordan Van Foreys we thought would jump to 4.5, but it's no longer clear after Vityugov got a nasty little trick in. Jan Krzysztof, 7 draws thus far, not contributing to the 15-0 white victory score.
Yeah, but still quite remarkable considering his general playing style and how combative he is as a chess player. And he is, a very, very exciting player that he so far hasn't contributed anything to the decisive game tally.
Yep, Dubov, if he holds today, he can be happy with his tournament. Karana, if he wins today, he can be happy with his tournament. So only one can be happy. Magnus, who won't win today, is probably not very happy with his tournament.
Not at all. Yeah, I think it's some way below his self-imposed standards of excellence, and frankly, even non-self-imposed standards of excellence. It's just not been his tournament at all. It's to his, like, the saving grace for Magnus is that it is exceedingly long, and if something actually does kickstart his tournament properly, he could yet be very much a threat. But yeah, so far, not great.
Also, the field is full of young guys, which I'm not sure. No, this theory probably doesn't hold water. I was gonna say it's not as great as with all the old guys that would collapse in the second half of the tournament, but usually it is often the new guys that aren't used to the Vike situation either, so I don't think I can really sell that theory. VVV Victimizer saying, doesn't Carlson have a new girlfriend? I'm not on Instagram. I heard he made it official. No, there were some posts featuring a young lady. I think it hasn't been that fresh.
Hottest take.
What?
The hottest takes here, but I don't know.
That's not really a take. It's just gossiping. Jordan, does he have a new girlfriend?
I wouldn't know. And Jordan with a very interesting practical
I
decision
would know.
to not even try to hold on to the g4 pawn, and instead asking Nikita a question: would you like to see the c4 pawn on c2? Because I think if you play bishop takes g4, Jordan plays bishop f5, and now I think of the two horrible things that can happen.
Takes loses, yeah.
Yeah, I think takes pretty much always loses. So you go bishop e2 or wherever, c3, and you regroup, blocking it on c2, and you hope not to lose. But that's scary.
Yeah, also your bishop can't control them all on this one diagonal anymore if he has to cover the c1 square. And the
I
other
think
boys
it's
are
a
coming.
it's a very good decision by Jordan. I like it.
Pushed up on saying gossiping is for women. But don't we have like 3% of women watching?
Also, having been a part of a very heavily male-dominated
Household?
no, that as well. But what I meant is I hung around mostly male chess players all my life, and we gossip like nobody's business.
Do?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's really absolutely, in my experience, there's absolutely no indication that gossiping is not something males don't enjoy and don't indulge in constantly.
What else would you do all day?
Exactly.
All right. So, does Nikita have a girlfriend?
Nikita is happily married.
That's a no then.
Yeah, you can say that.
How old is Vishy's son these days? I saw this picture of Vishy
I should
and Aruna
know.
visiting Kramnik and Gelfand.
I should
Kid
know.
looked grown, like 10 years old or something.
I think he is 9, I want to say, but maybe already. No, I don't think he's older than 9. But yeah, he looks like a serious boyo right now.
Yeah, he had a funky haircut going and everything.
Unsurprising.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we still stand by our assertion that you never ever take on f5 here, right? You just that can't be the move.
No, he did take on g4. Yeah?
He did take on g4. He felt that allowing the bishop safe passage to f5 would be even worse. Yeah,
It's one too many pawns at least. Yeah, I think he just lose. They all
yeah.
run.
King f7, g5, f4, king h6, king f5, and then you start having to concede to many things. So yeah, the bishop has to go somewhere. The c pawn will be on c2, and then the real intrigue will start.
Here's my next question: are Vishy and Giri the only participants with kids? We know Giri has a son. He's as old as my daughter. And Daniel, stop sending these indecent proposals. Enough is enough.
Let me. Well, the answer is sort of no, but there you go. Let's leave it at that, I guess. Yeah.
The answer is sort of no, but there you go. All right.
And we do have the correct trivia answers in the Chess24 chat, which we shall not be confirming or denying.
Okay. Forget is saying Nikita is a great movie with some Fonda girl. It was also a great TV show, no? You must know all these things. You have a Nikita at home.
Yep, I do have a Nikita at home.
Have you studied the topic of the TV series? And
I've watched a great deal of that. I want to say it was part Canadian. It wasn't actually an all-American TV series. I definitely think there were some Canadian moving parts in it. I used to be a fan when I was, I think, in my late teens. It's very watchable, and I've seen the movie as well.
Right. But had nothing to do. We've had this debate that in the West it's maybe more of a women's or used for both genders, but in the East it's exclusively.
Yeah, it's exclusively a boy's name.
It's not like a Tony situation.
No. It's the when it was first brought to my attention that it can be a woman's name, I was kind of startled. I remember that. Didn't seem logical, or although I mean it does end in a vowel, so according to the laws of my own language it shouldn't have surprised me this much, but it's very pronouncedly only a boy's name in Russian.
M. Terrible is saying Giri has got a young child. I suspect there is a slight correlation between that and his less than stellar performance the last year. I know he's had a young child for a while though.
Yeah, Daniel is what, 4 now?
3.5.
3.5, you know.
A little less, 3, a couple months.
No, I think arguably in Anish's case, maybe the best year of his budding career came after Daniel was born, right?
I don't know, he had this one year where he dominated the Grand Chess Tour, even though he didn't win it.
No?
Was it? I feel it was earlier.
Maybe it was
15, 16. I would say 15. Chess nerds, Mr. Dodgy, Lawrence Trent, you know these things. When did Anish score +5 in the Grand Chess Tour? Did not win it, even though Magnus Carlsen only had +2. And went on to win it. I think that's what happened, right, in the classical portion.
Yeah, I think Magnus ended up winning some kind of a...
Well, some point system per tournament, and somehow Magnus maneuvered very smartly.
Bowtie Club says 16.
Son of a Nimzovich says 15.
You know, and Mr. Dodgy says, let me Google that for you.
It's 15.
Yeah. But it's 15.
Lawrence Trent is saying, don't you ever mention my and that traitor's name in the same sentence again? Wow, tension? Fight? What happened?
Also,
Do Lawrence and Mr. Dodgy have beef?
Also, who's the traitor?
Mr. Dodgy, apparently.
Why?
I don't know.
Ah, okay. No, I just didn't know who he was referring to, but now I have confirmation.
All right, let's figure this out. Is Jordan winning? I have a feeling it's winning. You can't take. We've established.
Yeah. I still don't know how you make progress.
So thinking about h3.
No, that should
c3,
still lose.
Just
Yeah,
c3.
let's go bishop e2.
Here.
Let's go king g2.
Okay, king. So here,
Do you want the
Do I
pawn on
push
d3?
immediately?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very, very unsure about d3. I think keeping them on like d4 and e5, if possible, is probably the better course of action, because I don't think we want to give white this very easily. I mean, here we actually win the piece with e4 and g6, so maybe it's a good idea right now, but
Wow. Mr. Dodgy is saying, I don't know what the beef is, but come at me and let's see what happens. I've seen Lawrence end up in that situation a lot. What's going on there?
yeah, Lawrence is he gets into scraps all the time, which is, well, not unusual for an Essex man, I guess.
Wow, that's very hurtful to Lawrence. He will argue that technically he was born within London city limits or something.
And we shall proceed not to believe him.
I don't know if it's a big thing. So how did we get here? Bishop somewhere.
c3. No, actually, the thing I said about winning a piece was completely wrong. Also, do we need to make black play c2?
Maybe not. We want to.
I'm worried about e5, d4. Like, yeah, I think this is. Yeah, I think we need to, because here bishop c7 is impossible because you will lose control of the c1 square and it just queens, and then the king appears on e6 and protects everything. So we have to force black to play c2. There's actually some argument for bishop b2. I guess. But still, yeah, some kind of a position like this is what worries me the most. e5, king f7, king e6. Play d4.
Does feel winning.
Yeah.
So we can also build potentially a pass pawn here to distract even more. I think that's... One hand is saying, I come here to only talk chess. Who here thinks Magnus should retire? Well played.
Yeah. That's very much a...
So Jordan's doing well. Let's check in with Ali Reza.
Alireza did play e7, and perhaps now that this move is on the board, it's time for us to actually consider what black's options are. King g8, rook a4 doesn't appear like it's a good course of action. Although, let me try this again. King g8, rook a4, rook d1 check, king somewhere, bishop d5. This might be playable for black, because after rook a7 I want to take on f3 and then play king f7 and then start aiming for some rook endgames which I might hold.
Those you usually survive, right? Once your king is on f7. It feels
Even maybe start with rook d5 to make sure rook e6, c6 is not a topic.
No, it's not here either, right?
Yeah, or rook c7, yeah. I meant rook c7 actually. Rook d5, although rook e5 might be awkward, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this definitely does give black additional scope for defense. So king g8 might not be all that bad, because it's really difficult to make moves. If we can check if rook takes c5 loses in the current position, but my feeling is it has to, right? Rook c5, rook d8, bishop f7. I think it's very difficult to imagine white not actually winning this. King g8, yeah. I still don't see how we will end the final blow in that position, but there has to be a way. Maybe just rook a3, rook a3, a5. Huh. Weird, because you do feel like this cannot possibly hold.
Here, rook d5, huh?
Rook d5 I think only move, but I still don't know how it's refuted. Maybe just not take c6 and say that I will be able to re-establish. No, but now bishop f7, king, bishop e6, king f7. Yeah, it's very different. With the bishop on f7, black were completely dead. With the king on f7, it's a lot less clear. Also, we haven't touched that in a while, but I have a feeling Fabi may have made quite a bit of progress in his game.
Nope. Get there in a second. I'm still trying to make another quiz time happen. We need to give these 3-month premium extensions away. So, given that Techia matches, which is a big if, but I am confident. In 11 minutes at 6 p.m., we will have a very non-techie quiz time. But there will be a question, and if you're a Chess24 Premium member, you can give your answer in the Chess24 chat and win a 3-month premium extension. Because I think the 4 p.m. quiz did not give us a winner. Small chance I'm gonna crash the whole thing again.
But that's what keeps it exciting and fresh.
Yep. Where do we want to go, Fabi?
Yeah, I guess Dubov doesn't believe that this king a5 knight before idea is anything at all, because he just ignored it. He spent quite a lot of time here and decided not to stop king a5. My guess is he is waiting for the king to land on a5, and then he might play rook b7, hoping to maybe sort of box it in on that square. I don't think you can actually afford to allow both king a5 and knight b4. I think then you probably lose. Yeah, it feels to me like we need to start calculating king a5, rook b7, and I really don't want to, because my brain is somewhat shut down right now, but without it, it's very difficult to make any conclusions.
That's brain. Draw. Since we have the Twitch chat open, for the first time in forever, we can do some modding. Stick to English, please, boys and girls.
Yeah. Jan addresses the Twitch chat directly for the first time in 4 hours to provide a stern message of
Can't read what you're saying.
disapproval.
Sure. That's why I'm so popular. I do not talk much, but if I do, it's usually negative. Is Vichy making progress? Is a question being asked.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the idea of playing a3, a4, because it does create a target. It was very well protected on a3 and on a4, as is instantly evidenced by Magnus playing queen a6. Magnus can attack it, but I guess he wants to go rook a3, and if he does give up the pawn on c4, but the a pawn makes a lot of progress, I think that's a good situation for Magnus here.
Ayush 0913 saying Jan looks 50 and 15 at the same time. That's what I'm going for. Like
Some kind of a weird Benjamin Button situation.
Nah, more like a Macaulay Culkin vibe.
He really no longer looks 15, right?
But we always know what he looks like, because we've seen Home Alone like 80,000 times. Therefore, it's hard to see him and not think of Kevin.
I think I could probably manage. I've seen enough Macaulay Culkin current pictures to feel that I have the Kevin images purged from my mind.
Tactico is asking, what do you think about Ali Reza's performance so far in this tournament? He's asked this before. Yeah, he's done well. He's a fantastic player. He has +2, which I think defies expectations. He's only 16 years old. There's been a lot of turmoil in his private life recently with the move to France and so on and so forth. So kudos to him. We have not seen a 16-year-old do that much damage in Vike ever since Eric Hansen threw up outside the playing hall. I made that one up. Apologies to Eric. Greetings to the chess brass. Big fan. I'm not even sure if Eric has been there. I don't know why that came to mind.
Yeah, that felt oddly specific.
Yeah. It's it's very untrue too. So no, Ali Reza is doing great.
I like King G1 speaking about that position because I think, and also like Bishop F3. I think this is quite cleverly played by Nikita, but he might still be lost. And yeah, we were sort of talking about that, and then we kind of tuned out because, well, brain malfunction. But we've had sort of this position on the board for a while, and the big question is there any progress at all to be made for white? So far, Fabi hasn't shown any, but that's not a conclusive, conclusion.
I'll argue with Lawrence. Lawrence Trent is saying, no, you're not a big fan. I guess he means of the chess bros. You told me in private that they are disgusting, talentless hippie. I guess he means hippies. No, that last word sort of ruined your story, Lawrence. Had you said, you told me in private that they are disgusting, talentless metrosexuals, that would still have been a lie, but a believable one. But the hippies part, no one's ever accused the chess bros of being hippies.
Yeah, I think that that doesn't undercuts the entire libelous accusation that Lawrence leveled against us here.
Jake Lone saying, like, Jan is not a metrosexual. I very much am. I always meant it as a compliment, and I closely follow whatever they're up to. All right, moving on. Hang on, I have to apply some hair product.
Okay, let me drive. Talking about this position, Jordan now feels like he doesn't even have to play c4 instantly. And the reason I mentioned bishop f3 is clever is that we were playing c3, and then we were trying to play e5 and d4 as early as possible. And by placing the bishop on f3, Nikita is currently making playing e6, e5 a lot more difficult because of bishop takes d5 check problems. Also, I was kind of curious because we gave this speech that bishop f5 ef is just completely lost, which it is. And that kind of raises the question of whether this is also lost for white. But I think breaking up your pawn chain like this is not something anyone would do.
You better be sure. Yep.
Yeah, you better be really, really sure, and nobody can be entirely sure here. And also the king is just so far away, you might start losing these pawns in this position, which is really not black's idea here. But feels like black should still be in control somehow. Let's say king f2, we finally play c2, we finally play d4, and then we play e5, and we push. And it's just so difficult for white to even attack the pawn on c2. But even if you, let's say, if you imagine white getting these moves in, and I will even on purpose like make a passing move somewhere here, because obviously nobody gives up a tempo like this. But even some kind of an endgame like this is so often just lost, right? I don't know if e4 is the correct move, but I go h5, h4, h3, and then I don't know about h3. And then I push everywhere, and eventually something bad might happen to you. So even in the absolute best case scenario, and of course after king e1 there are ways for black, like e4, e3 probably just kills this position stone dead, because this king is never getting out of this jail. But even if you give white all this time and don't even try to stop bishop e2, bishop d3, I have a feeling white loses anyway. So yeah, it's just very, very difficult to imagine how Nikita is going to get out of this one. In Vicious game,
That'd be quite a turnaround. Blunder a piece, still win. So much talent.
In Vicious game there was a lot of clamor for rook c3, e3, a move which we did not consider, and Vichy in the end also didn't play.
Push the pawn.
Yeah, but it's a clever move though. The simple tactical explanation is queen a4, rook e6, and everything drops. But also rook e3 stops both rook c5 and rook g8 because of this. Whoops, because of the same tactic of rook takes e6, and we win material here. But Vishy decides to sort of go for the throat here, plays c5, queen takes a4, and I guess c6 hasn't been played yet, but nothing else really makes any sense here. But this, I feel, it should probably be okay for black.
I just wanted to signal 2 minutes till quiz time if I manage to put it up on the screen, which is still anybody's guess. So, Vichy.
Pressing
Shall not win, we think.
Yeah, pressing, but I think the knight on e6 is so solid that there should be a way to stop the white.
Red Lentils is saying, watching the stream with my wife. That's a brag, first of all. She does not follow chess, but is loving the commentary. Glad to hear that. Greetings to your wife. Does that mean, where do you think our female viewership is at? I think 3% could be accurate. No, that's the, I believe, the number, at least when it comes to organized chess players, more or less. How do we change that?
Just stream more and create a cult following that, word of mouth and so on and so forth. I really don't have any kind of a magic bullet recipes there.
So you don't know how we can get rid of them? Jesus.
What is, hang on a second. Is this legal?
Joking. Disclaimer.
I was pretty sure that move
quiz
was...
time.
That move was... okay, quiz time. Because Magnus played something which I really assumed was losing by force, and it isn't.
Not the question, no worries. This one was the earlier quiz that no one got. Now, this is part of the quiz. It will be me clumsily trying to make this text appear, which could crash our little thingy once again. But once the text shows up and you can read it, it's fair game. How? That's how it starts. Many. Okay, this is going to be impossible. I kind of apologize because it's not on purpose. I don't know what's going on here. It's some lock position. This is frustrating. I'm actually... no, excuses won't make it better. How many? What say you?
Start typing the answers to that.
No, this is too embarrassing. Why doesn't this work? I've done this a million times.
We can try, okay, maybe not, but there's a way to animate it. And it will scroll. Where did everything else go?
It's somewhere. I resign. I'll read it out. I'm sorry. This is embarrassing. It's not meant to be funny. How many winners and which in the 1994 Weigernsee candidate matches have also won the top group event outright? Oof, that's another tough question. How many winners and which in the 1994 Weigernsee candidates matches have also won the top group event outright?
And you do have to name them. Just the number one, cut
Yeah,
it.
that's the and which part. So, only answers in the Chess24 chat, please. I'll keep reading it out. How many winners and which of the 1994 candidate matches have also won the top group event outright? So that requires us to know who won the 1994 candidate matches. I was following chess in 1994. I wasn't a top player like you in 1994 or ever, but let's figure this out. First of all, candidate matches, does that mean FIDE candidate matches? Was there a PCA circle going on then as well?
Yeah, in '94 there were
Or
definitely
both, right?
there were definitely two cycles going on, but the Vike candidates are, I think, the FIDE candidates. I think the PCA candidate matches were held, I think, in Linares. Once again, my poor grasp of quite important chess history here will be extremely embarrassing, but I'm pretty sure that that cycle was going on in Linares, and that's where the famous, let's say, Kamsky short match happened, which led to a lot of acrimony and beefs that lasted a lifetime. Or, So that's the feeder cycle. I think we've established that's the feeder cycle. And that feeder cycle eventually resulted in the Karpov-Kamsky match. So Gata was actually playing in, I'm pretty sure Gata was playing in both cycles at the time.
For sure. He beat Vichy in one and then lost to Vichy in the other one, no? I'm also very confused by the wording and everything. Like, how many winners of the candidate matches? That means they won a round in the candidate matches, or they won a
No,
round in
that
1994?
that must have been a match, specifically in Vike, right? The wording is not that ambiguous on that particular point. Trying again?
You're not helping.
Oh, hooray!
It's not exactly pretty, but I want on writing. This is our current quiz. How many winners and which in the 1994 Wijk candidate matches have also won the top group event outright? So there were candidate matches 1994 in Wijk. 3 of the victors have also won the top group. I would guess we have the answer by now, but I frankly don't know.
Yeah, let's briefly look at the chat, because we really don't want to be running a third quiz. That would be a bit too much.
Even this is way too much, as you can see.
And I honestly, I haven't seen the correct answer yet, which is a bit worrying. There must have been a correct answer, but I haven't spotted it yet. I see a few answers which are very close to being correct, but okay, that probably is one, right?
I don't know the answer. Let me look it up again.
And in the meantime, bringing us slightly more current, making us slightly more current with events. The Anand Carlsen game was finished, and Magnus did hold, and yeah, yet another really non-inspiring performance by the world champion.
Yep. So apparently the answer to our question, did someone get it right?
Yeah, by now, yes.
Yep. Was 3 of these guys, and those were Jan Timman, the legend of Dutch chess, and frankly of chess, Vishy Anand, and another legend, Valery Salov.
Oh yeah, another absolute lad. Who is...
There you go. I'm very sorry for all the mess tomorrow. Things will be looking proper again, I hope. So, Magnus Carlsen managed to keep it together and can add another draw from a bad position to his collection. That's what, 5 now? 5.5?
5.5 out of 7, which is really quite something. And
He's drawn all his games. I mean, from how many bad positions he's had in the tournament.
yeah, and somewhat surprisingly, there was a mention of a move rook before somewhere winning for white. which I don't quite understand, because you could play rook b4 on the previous move, but it doesn't do very much. As far as I can see, doesn't create any pressing threats or anything. So, but there was a mention of rook b4 being extremely strong.
That keeps. There's more and more questions why Kramnik doesn't count. I wouldn't know.
Because I think Kramnik was playing in the other in the other cycle, right? No, wasn't he? Probably not. He lost to Gelfand eventually.
I don't know. We'll have our quiz team research the correct answer and who got it first. We do not know. So, Vichy.
It's definitely in this position, so let's try and figure this out. Rook b4, it creates a cheapo. I don't think it creates a threat, but it definitely creates a cheapo in the shape of rook b8, king f8, rook b4, king f8, knight d6. Now we threaten rook b8, and if rook c7, we have this 1-2 shot, and we probably actually do win, because I'm not sure this endgame is normally winning if black stabilizes, but here black just doesn't stabilize and loses either one of these guys, and then you are kind of dead. But if you sidestep the knight d6 tactic and play something like king g7, how do you... Is the argument here that without king g8, king f8, king d7, the king cannot get to the rook, and we just march towards b7? That doesn't feel very... Like, we go king f3, king f6, we go king e4. But really, I would like to make an argument. Yeah, I would like to make an argument that this is a draw. Like, I really don't believe this is winning for white. Oh, okay, yeah, well, okay, not a draw. No longer a draw, because I kind of ignored the rather relevant fact that this is hanging. So we can go king, and yeah, I think by winning, I think people got overexcited by the fact that there is no forced draw. But I think eventually, once the king is on f6, let's say I go king e2 here, which is not really a very productive move, but maybe the best white has. I honestly think white is not winning this endgame.
This looks very drawn. With the pawns on h4 and g3.
No, in particular this setup, like you can go, just for demonstration's sake, I think you can go sort of full passive here, bringing knight over to h6, and then just pass forever, covering the one weakness you have to worry about, the pawn on f7. And yeah, I don't think white makes progress.
Oh, it's contemplating knight g4, f3, not f5. Yeah.
And yeah, going back to rook c4 might actually be relevant. So I'll refine the argument. You go rook b4, and important to remember that you go there from c4. So after king g7, going to c4 here doesn't really make much sense. We can go king g8 if all else fails. And I'll just take on c7 here. I don't want to allow white to switch back to the rook c4 ideas. Let's go for this endgame now. And yeah, once again, the speech. I really think this is not winning for white.
Yeah. So draw there. Caruana's still trying to get somewhere against Dubov.
Yeah, I have a feeling maybe he is waiting for the third time trouble here. Because he can actually pass more or less indefinitely here with white. I don't think there's any argument for black to be making progress. So you can pass more or less as long as you like, and eventually when they're both for the final time down to 10 minutes, you can maybe try to do something. But if he hasn't found it yet, you do start thinking that maybe it's just not there, because...
Also, frankly, why would it be there?
Well, I think it very much hinges once again on the topic we were kind of hoping not to discuss, namely king a5, rook b7. If you don't play rook b7 here, I think you lose. Because once the knight gets to b4, with the b6 square under control, like if you go king f7, knight b4, bishop b5, We've had this with the king on c3, but now after c6 you no longer have knight b6, right. And that has to be just completely dead because, I mean, you have to allow king b6. It's just horrible. But after rook b7, king takes a6, and simply rook b1. I think this is
why.
I think nobody, frankly. Yeah, probably nobody. But the thing is, there's no way to make progress because the only threat you can actually generate is knight b4, and the only way you can do it is by playing king a5. So I think it actually ends in an immediate repetition here. And Fabi not playing king a5, I think, is a good indication that he agrees with this assessment. Does he have anything better, though? And some surprising things happened in Alireza's game. Not that surprising. We just blundered rook a3. I was suggesting rook a4 here, which is moronic. And of course rook a3 is much stronger because it doesn't allow that counterplay I was counting on. Rook d1 check, bishop d5. You still play bishop d5, I guess.
We take here probably.
Yeah, we take this guy. Knight f5, bishop b4. Knight f5, bishop. Rook e3 wins. Yeah, okay.
I was thinking g6, and I don't know what's going on then. Knight h6, king g7. Maybe game is not over.
Not over, but white I think is heavily favored to win that position because eventually the knight will land on e5 in that line. G6, king 8, knight h6, king g7, knight g4, rook e7, even king f2 for the time being. I don't want to allow g5 just yet. King f2, and yes, black has an outside passer, but this is a very typical situation where, you know, the rook sort of blocking the outside passer is more active than the rook on e7. So I think eventually the sheer weight of the white pawns on the king side will start telling.
Yeah, the other question is, can we take
bishop
this?
b4? No, we need to find how to refute bishop b4, but yeah, of course you would prefer to take this guy if you find a tactical solution.
Maybe there isn't one.
And why would you play bishop d5 over bishop b1 is the new question. Well, I was trying to safeguard the c6 pawn, but actually maybe not giving up on f5 is more important in the current position after knight takes d4. It is actually probably better to play bishop b1 because rook a7 bishop b4 leads to the same, and knight c6 bishop b4 is probably a better shot in terms of drawing chances than the positions we were discussing when we were giving up on f5. Yeah, still not fun, but yeah, these you sometimes hold. Knight b5, rook c3, still not fun.
Right, so we'll be here for a while.
It does seem like that.
Jordan also has a longer day at the office than he could have had. Let's say had he played g6, queen e2, f4 here and resigns.
Yeah, that would have been an improvement, I think, in terms of everybody's quality of life. Does black win if he plays e4, e3 right here? I think Nikita is hoping to activate his king and then try to give up the... Because if you go king f2, king e1, I think you never hold, right? It just going passive is never going to work for Nikita. So I was hoping for something like e3, bishop f3, and after e2 I take and I block everything. But that's three things. Yeah, it's just never feels like it's enough, right? e2 just wins the bishop here. I was wondering if maybe I have enough blockade, but I think when it's three of them,
three are too many.
Yeah, there's never enough. There's never enough blockade. You always create something on the king side to distract. In a way, this will be, you know, I don't know if you subscribe to this school of thought, but these are somehow even more painful than had Jordan played g6 for move 23.
Oh yeah, if you're lost, then you make a comeback, fight for 7 hours, and then lose. Ugh.
Yeah, I have a specific game in memory, like which still hurts. I remember when the Grand Prix, they are now knockout tournaments, obviously, but they used to be round robins, and I played in a couple of cycles and never really did well. And there was one cycle when I was sort of in the running for something, And there was a particular tournament in Khanty-Mansiysk, I want to say 2015, but I'm not entirely sure, where I think I started with +3, and I won some nice game. I won a very nice technical game against Tanish. I've beaten somebody else along the way. I can't exactly recall who. I think maybe maybe it was Badur Jabava. And then I had 2 black games in a row against Boris and Linier Dominguez. And I lost both of them. In the game against Boris, I came very, very close to resigning at around move 20 because I mixed up my Grunfeld analysis in a very, very sharp Queen B3 line. And I actually allowed something that was in my files and I just clean forgot. And the position by move 20 was so completely rotten that I very seriously contemplated just calling it quits and, having half a rest day. But it's not what you do, so I continued fighting, and by move 40 it was a dead draw. And then I proceeded to lose it all over again. After 6.5 hours of play, some kind of a weird technical endgame, which, first of all, I shouldn't have allowed, and then I should have held it. Boy, did that hurt. And you sit there and think it was just much better to resign on move 20 when you first considered the idea, instead of doing this to yourself. Yes, those are not fun.
Did I miss set story time?
Yeah, set story time is gone.
And Lawrence Trent in the chat is saying, Karim and I hatching some serious plans. Seriously. Those sound very serious if he has to use serious twice. And there's very few things in the world that get me more excited than Lawrence Trent announcing big plans. Where can we find out more, Lawrence? Can we follow you on social media somewhere maybe? And there he will keep us posted?
Also, who is Karim? I think it's probably Kasim and he can't type, but...
I think it's Karim.
We'll find out soon.
I don't know. I want to know. It's not like I've ever heard that announcement about Lawrence having serious plans.
Yeah, and Mr. Doji says, resign early and often. Yeah,
that's the lesson?
That's the key to success in life.
But that is one you have mastered, no?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
On that topic, you are on a very, very safe ground.
What are your set stories, Jan? Look at me. It's never ending. Did you see the movie Joker? Kiwi Bites wants to know, how was the movie last afternoon? We went on a date night. We had a potato, a kebab, and then we watched the movie 1917. I don't know, we didn't do a long post-mortem.
No.
My conclusion was great technical achievement.
Yeah.
All right movie, or good movie, like it's obviously a good movie. I wasn't moved, which could be because I'm dead inside, but yeah, it didn't feel like the story didn't really catch me, but it's fantastically well filmed, choreographed, put together.
Yeah, I think also some of the things I read, there's a suggestion that there's a lot of single camera sequences in it, which are stunning in how complicated they are and how well executed they are. So
what's the guy called? The cinematographer? I don't speak English. Cinematographer, Roger Deakins, I think. He's a legend.
You know better on these topics than I do, but yeah, that was one of the things I kept on encountering in reviews I have seen, that it's unbelievably well shot, and yeah, we can definitely confirm that. Nominating it for Best Picture, I mean, he should. I assume he is nominated for camera work. And
it's nominated for all the good stuff. 10 Oscars.
So yeah, I'm guessing they win those hands down. I don't know if it wins Best Picture, simply because the story. It feels slightly weird to say because it's obviously a hugely important period in human history, and there are lessons to be learned and so on. But it does feel like those lessons have been mentioned before previously. Like, this is not the first time we're being told war is bad, And I do agree, but the message is not exactly fresh.
No, I think whenever you see it, like I said, I didn't find this story so moving, which I think is also because it's both trying to document the horror of this trench warfare. I think that's what it's called. All these guys in the trenches in World War One, and yeah, then having the story. That is the story. I'm trying not to spoil so much, but in a way, this documenting of the big scheme makes it harder to focus on the individual journey or whatever. So it
And
was a bit weird.
VB Cardinal says, but Peter, it needs to be retold over and over again. I don't know if it's sarcasm. I don't disagree, it needs to, but for Best Picture, my argument was specifically that for Best Picture, it is perhaps somewhat lacking in plot. That's the only argument I'm making. I like the movie a great deal, and I'm pretty sure it wins a number of non-Best Picture categories absolutely deservedly.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's my argument wasn't that the movie shouldn't have been made or that it's not a good movie.
Also, on a lighter note, how much did you think we looked like the two main characters?
Having seen them on screen, not a lot.
Not that much, right? I saw some pictures. I had higher expectations for a lookalike thing, but
Yeah,
really pull it
that picture that somebody tagged us, both of us on Twitter. That picture did look like we might be in for a treat there, but no.
another thing, I don't think this is a spoiler. It could be a super mild spoiler. So apologies in advance. Switch it off if it is, but I don't think it is. Did you also feel the way that the first, let's say, 45 minutes, I was engaged in the story, but then it became a little too video gamey for me, and somehow they lost me a little bit.
To a degree, but I don't think, I didn't notice any kind of a significant drop in how I engaged with the story. It's just that you sort of know where this is going, and once again, it feels like I'm saying, no war movies should ever be made ever again because we've seen, one or two, and that's not my argument. But still, having watched some movies, you have a pretty good guess that probably some of the things you expect will happen and some others, like some good things you expect will happen and some bad things you sort of expect also will happen. And on the topic of lookalikes, I wanted to say that, there was probably a short period in my life when I did look this cherubic, but it's been and gone.
I don't know that word. Is it a good or a bad thing?
Well, it's probably a good thing, but yeah.
Do you know that your lookalike was played by Tommen Baratheon?
I was not aware of that. I haven't seen Tommen on screen in a while because he, for obvious reasons, once again.
So what games are still going?
The weird endgame is going, and the two less weird endgames are also still going. And by the looks of things, Black will finally win a game.
Jordan. If someone was to break the spell, it was always going to be Jordan Van Foreest playing the French defense. There's a question by Vegan. Jan and Peter, do you like popcorn? If so, butter or no butter? And did you share a large tub of popcorn or each get your own? We didn't get any, mainly because there were huge lines around.
Yeah, the lines are unbelievable at the Savoy when you get close to the opening times. We did get a kebab each though. And after that, honestly, I was not up for any. We maybe would have gotten ourselves a drink of some sort, but I wasn't eating anything else that evening after that kebab.
I like popcorn, reasonably healthy snack. I prefer salty.
Yeah, I go with salty and probably some butter, but so Fabi finally went for something. And once again, from the tone of some messages in chat, I suspect he is now making significant progress and/or winning. But I still, don't quite see how. Is he planning to go king c5, knight a4, check, rook takes a4? Probably not, yeah, because the bishop comes back to d7 and it becomes anybody's game again.
What's that?
King, well, it's black to move, but let's say bishop d7 here. Doesn't really matter. King c5, knight a4 check.
Does kind of matter because you can only go king c5 after bishop d7. No, not have knight d7 check.
Ah, yeah, that's a very relevant thing which I completely missed, honestly. Well, giving up on f6 is a problem. I think the problem for black is that the king would very much like to be somewhere around d7, but you don't want to give up on f6, and you also don't want to play fg. And that actually raises the question, is the position ugly enough for you to play f6, f5? Because the king needs to participate in the defense, otherwise I don't think you're surviving. Bishop, no. There's a very cute move, knight c6, but I don't know what it does. Probably nothing. Actually, there's some point to it. Can we try knight c6 here?
1 second.
Sure.
Knight c6. Are you sure?
No, but I would, like, at this point,
Here.
Yeah, I do have knight e5 check here. Also knight
b5, knight b8.
Knight b8, knight takes
Yes,
d6
knight
though,
d6.
yeah. Let's give a check on e5. Let's cut down on the fancifulness. Let's say bishop takes. Yeah, but now the king runs. Yeah, I get to b6, but you get to d7. Do I win? King b6 and... I don't know, rook c8. And claim that there is no progress to be made. Check. And back, yeah. But in more general terms, I wanted to play bishop c4, and then I might have like rook g8, rook c8 as a passing idea.
All right, we don't know, but it looks close.
Yeah, it looks incredibly close. My expectations by this point is that Fabi actually wins, but it still isn't a given. And somewhat surprisingly, I think Jeffrey actually went for the line that we were advocating instead of the bishop b1 that Chat was advocating for, which normally isn't the way to go. Normally, you always pick the Chat line. Yeah, this is... As long as you don't blunder e3, bishop h7 check, which I think is not going to get
that many pieces.
Yeah, I generally don't think this will happen. You just eventually win king e5, e3, and then you create another passer on the g file, or maybe even go on some kind of a king walkabout.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be very painful for Nikita, and in general his tournament, and he's had a fantastic 2019. You have to say he's definitely one of the players of the year of 2019. I would say, definitely in the top 5, most improved, most consistent players of last year. Came very close to qualifying for the candidates from both the World Cup
and Isle of Man back to back.
Yeah,
more or less, no?
and the Grand Swiss. Yeah, in the Grand Swiss finished in the qualifying tie, but was peeped at the post by Kirill Alexeyenko. And generally just incorporated new openings into his game and became a much more complete player. But this tournament so far is not going his way quite decidedly.
He also won the Euro teams with Russia. I'm not sure how his individual result was. I think not great actually in that one, maybe. But
I think he did
still,
fine.
was
I
tight.
think it was actually Kirill who struggled throughout the tournament and then won the decisive game in the last round.
Andreikin did great as well.
Yeah, Andreikin's tournament was really weird because he was like on +4 after maybe 6 rounds.
Yeah, and I lost to Mickey.
No, and then he was subbed out for a match against Germany, I think, which we then proceeded not to win. Arguably because we subbed out the one guy who was absolutely destroying the first board. And then he lost that endgame to Mickey where he basically could claim a threefold at some point, but he just couldn't read his own score sheet. That is what people told me what happened there. He studied his score sheet for a while, and he had a pretty good idea that it probably is a threefold, but he decided not to claim because it was just so completely illegible that he decided not to risk it. And that ended up costing us because he ended up losing that endgame and we barely. Even this probably after g6 is winning for white, right? I mean black. That's the upsetting part, is that you can even quote unquote blunder bishop here and still be completely winning.
No, that is what happened earlier.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, what do you think the players will have for dinner? Nikita, do you think he eats in the hotel? Does he go to Klein Switzerland, the Italian?
I think I mean, this evening in particular, it's difficult for me to judge, but he eats everything. He's not a pescatorian of any kind, but.
And Jordan, I don't know. They have been ordering a lot of Chinese, as mentioned on the show. But I think if he wins, he's gonna be so tired, but he's gonna feel he deserves. He and his second, they deserve a celebratory dinner. They'll probably go to some.
And Peter DeVries says Jordan is having Nikita for dinner, which is harsh but not entirely untrue. And
There was also a question earlier. This is one of these tournaments where you're not allowed to eat at the board. I think that's every tournament. No, they changed the rules that you are not allowed to eat at the board anywhere in a FIDE tournament.
okay, so they've actually written this into the handbook, yeah.
Yes.
Which is kind of weird, but also understandable and logical and correct, I think, and also aimed at seemingly very few specific people because it's just not a thing. People don't really eat at the table.
No, you can drink, but eating has long been considered a breach of etiquette. People don't do it. You're fine getting up and eating away from the board, even walking around, but at the board, it's just not done in polite societies.
Yep.
Even the impolite, they don't do it. Looks like Ali Reza's winning.
Yeah, there was a specific question. Why do we think knight e3 is the main computer move in this position and not knight e5? Well, knight e5, actually knight e5, g5, rook g3 exists, so I'm less sure. But I think in general, just driving the bishop away from maybe the c4, b5 squares, so that black cannot even play a6, bishop b5, freeing up the rook, might be part of the reason. To be honest, I would not have seriously considered knight e3 in this position. I'm surprised it's not king f2. Like my far and away favorite move in this position would have been king f2 first and any knight moves later. So it's interesting to me that this is the best choice.
Maybe it isn't.
Well, there was a suggestion specifically that knight e3 is the best move in this position. So
All right. King f2 plus 1, knight e3 plus 3. Wow. Some direct stuff.
yeah, it's quite remarkable, and he is very, very good at playing, at converting in a forceful and exact manner. For somebody who, like, normally you don't expect 16-year-olds, unless their name is Magnus Carlsen, to be all that great at endgames. But he does seem to have a very, very good technique already.
Just seems pretty good at chess. He is defeating 19-year-old Jeffrey Zhong here, it does look like, which would give him the sole lead in this tournament. Ben Pumpener, sorry if I got that name wrong, is asking, if you block somebody, do they get notified? I don't think so, but we can tell them. You can block them and then let us know in the chat. But no, I don't think so. I wouldn't know. But maybe.
Normally, like on most platforms, blocking is very specifically built in a way that the blocked person doesn't get a notification until they try to somehow interact with you.
Astrology is saying Zhong is too old to compete with these kids.
Yeah, and there's a lively discussion on alcohol drinking during chess games. It's not done very much anymore, but there's definitely stories.
Whoa.
I think I may have told this story on air of, I haven't played very many American Opens, but I did play a couple in the 94-95 period. And I think it was the World Open 95 in Philly, where Dave Norwood, I was doing horribly in that tournament. I think I lost to like an 1800 player, just blundering a piece in 2 moves. And I also lost a game to a local legend where I played the Najdorf, and I was met with Queen f3, e6, b3 as a reply, and got destroyed. That later was well publicized in the SOS series in New in Chess, when the editor of the SOS series decided to punish me for making an injudicious comment about his writing. That's a story in and of itself, but are we at that time?
I don't know. Should I go to full screen? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, that's a kind of a funny non-story in and of itself. I'm not entirely sure who was editing the SOS column in New in Chess. SOS standing for
Secrets of Opening Surprises?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Wasn't Jeroen Bos? I thought it's been Jeroen Bos forever.
Probably has been, yeah. And at some point he published something on the sideline of the Grunfeld, possibly the Bishop g5, Bishop g7 on move 4, which is, yeah, if we go for full screen off full screen for a second. I'm not sure it was Bishop g5, Bishop g7, but probably was. And if anything in the Grunfeld ever stood like half a chance of being named after me, it's probably this, because it existed before me, but I think I was the first player to start seriously promote it in the early 90s. But obviously not my novelty, and I'm not claiming it as such. Similar ideas existed in the past, but specifically on move 4. I mean, I found it myself. It's just that we didn't have any, like in the pre-internet age, there was no way of knowing whether something really existed or not. And but anyway, there was an SOS column written on this line, and in the next time I annotated something for New in Chess, I mentioned in passing that it's not much of an opening secret if I've been playing it for the last 5 years. And promptly in the next issue of New in Chess, there was an article on this specific Queen f3, e6, b3 Najdorf, saying this is a very interesting new funky way of meeting the Najdorf, and also, hey ho, look at this game where Svidler got completely destroyed by a 2300 player.
Oh, beefing.
So that's no one cares, Peter. Analyze the game, the game, the game. And there's apparently it's the second message in a row. Yeah, it's the way to endear us to yourself to us, obviously, by telling us to analyze the game. Which game would you like, Kendra Dog?
I have a feeling he wants us to look at the Ali Reza game, which
White is
this position on the board.
White is a
winning.
pawn up. White is winning. There's also not much actually going on. White is just winning. So this is why I felt that we were on a safe-ish ground, chewing the fat for 5 minutes, but apparently not.
No.
Never ever. And there was actually a story prior to the drinking, the eating and drinking over the board. And in the Philly Open that I lost that night, Finn, Dave Norwood, who is now no longer really associated with chess very much, but he used to be an active and a good grandmaster. He still played in the mid-90s. He was also not doing very well in that tournament, and I think he had a bet with somebody, because I don't think he would do that to himself without some side bet action going on. I remember I stumbled upon his board whilst, as usual, walking around in the hall, and he had like 18 margarita glasses stacked all around the board. Like the board was up, I don't know where they were putting their arms, because the board was entirely covered in empty margarita glasses. And I think the eventual count was maybe 27. I'm not entirely sure how the bet was phrased, but it was basically, I think the premise was he was supposed to drink margaritas non-stop. If one ran out, somebody would bring him a new one. So there was basically no break in the margarita drinking action. He was playing somewhere around board 50, so his opponent wasn't very strong, and I think he actually ended up winning the game. But the sight of a chessboard just completely covered in cocktail glasses was, in '95 I was a lot more easily shocked than I am right now. I remember I looked at that and I thought,
I'm so shocked. Times have changed though, right?
Yeah, it's clearly not something that would have been done even in an open these days.
I recall playing Dutch League in the old days, and it was very, very common, actually. More normal than not that your opponent would tell you, I'm getting a beer, would you like one as well, like during the game. And no longer. Yeah,
the first ever open tournament I played was Groningen 1990. And I actually played against somebody who smoked at the board. And that, I think, disappeared that year.
Golden age of chess. I was a little too young. Damn it. All right.
94 would be 7. Yeah. You start wondering if you can just win by force here, or by horse, as Doji would obviously instantly correct me too. But I think there's no reason to give up on g2. I was wondering if 96 rook b2 king e3 was just winning, but yeah, there's no need to. And also, when I was starting to think about that, I didn't see king e6. I thought the king was pushed back to the back rank, but you can go king f6, king e6. And that actually spoils white's position quite a bit. So yeah, I think g4 is just very logical. And we play 96 next move. Although, if we go g4 right now, I guess Jeffrey's plan is to play a bishop d5, 96 rook b2 check, and hope against hope that if the king goes forward, we can play rook b3 check and create an outside passer and not lose. But the thing is, the king on g7 is just so completely locked out that I think black loses this anyway. Like king d, even g4 g5, like preemptively g4 g5, then h4, and then we say, it's nobody ever breaks out. Yeah, probably not a lot. Yeah,
king d4 maybe.
Yeah, king d4, king c3, and although I did allow bishop b6, a3, a2. Yeah, I'll probably start with king d4. There's really no reason to give black this much freedom. Yeah, king d4, king c3, and yeah, e4, king b4. And the thing is, the king is just so passive, and the white king side's so safe that yeah, this doesn't feel like it is even close particularly. White just wins.
Arun Kumar B5 is asking, does Vishy drink? He's probably a vegetarian too. Possible, not sure. He's a pescatarian. He eats fish, not meat. I am not sure if he never drinks. I've never seen him drink. He's not a big drinker.
I've seen him drink like half a glass of something during occasions where everybody is drinking, and he's perhaps expected to drink a toast. But yeah, he doesn't do it very often. In all the years I've known him, I've seen him, drink a sum total of maybe, I don't know, 1.5 glass of something. So, not a huge drinker.
Are you Sir. So Jordan still has not blundered his bishop. Went g5, bishop h7, king e5.
Yeah. No, bishop h7 hasn't been played. I think Nikita played h5, but that doesn't really change very much.
Yeah, I'm just trying that the bishop is alive.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, what Nikita is trying to do is to make it as difficult as possible for black to sort of win on the spot, but I don't think Jordan needs to. We go king e5, and like eventually a threat will be created, and then everything collapses. I think the easiest way to do that would be to go king e5, then bishop f5 and king e4, and create a threat of d3. And that should do it, frankly.
Sorry, what was next? King e5?
Bishop f5, king e4. Probably we can just go with the bishop somewhere first and go, but then bishop h7 check is annoying me. I don't want to blunder the c2 pawn. So this is how we go about things, and you can probably somehow find a square that doesn't allow me to play king e4. Do I?
You also have this week.
Yeah. But also, once again, this setup is so sturdy that I can actually, I think, maybe go around the long way, right? King d6, king c6, king b5, king b4, and so.
Lawrence Trent is asking, Jan, am I a pescatarian? Is that wordplay?
He is a world-famous pescatarian.
He does like meat.
And also pestering people. What's happening in the endgame we've been ignoring for a bit is, has Fabi actually made any progress? Seems like he has, yeah. Rook e3 is a very clever reply to f5. I really like that bit. Daniel ended up actually making the move we were sort of considering there. f6, f5, despite how ugly it is, he just felt that he needed to bring the king over, and Fabi says, bringing the king over? No, not on my watch. And now after rook c8, he just went in for the kill with knight b7, creating seemingly an unstoppable threat of knight d8 check and rook takes e6.
Fabi's getting there, yeah? Mm-hmm. Also, such a good grinder. Fabi just keeps making good moves.
Mm-hmm.
5 hours in.
And I've seen a comment along those lines early in chat, and I tend to actually agree that this is a low-key, incredibly impressive game by Fabi, showing a lot of very interesting positional concepts. Also playing very precisely straight out of the opening, because it felt like Daniel was very, very well prepared, and.
Fabi's been a pawn down for the last 800 moves, but
pretty much.
Then quietly exchanges queens and makes progress. It's deep stuff.
Yeah, I think it's actually a very, very good game by him. Knight c4 played. I suspect even the immediate knight d8 check might be winning, but also the thing is you can go rook e1. Knight takes d6 is not a threat, so you can start by going rook e1 and play knight d8 check next move. I don't think there's bishop d7 maybe, but then king c5. They all start getting there, and eventually this will collapse, right? Normally this eventually does collapse. Although I'm not that happy about allowing, I don't know, king e8, knight d8, rook takes d8. Probably winning, but if there's a direct win right now, I would probably prefer to go for it. So what happens if we give a check now? In the current position, knight g8, king e8, I suspect.
You already played rook e1.
Oh, okay. Sorry, irrelevant.
No, still relevant. It's the art of chess analysis.
King e8, rook d6, rook e6, king d7. Yeah, this is too much of a mess. He didn't need it and decided not to engage with it. Could very easily still be very good for white, but there's absolutely...
Probably thinks it's just winning with all the moves he mentioned. Yeah, interesting stuff by Fabi.
Rook e1 loses advantage, says Engine.
Wow.
Amazing. Do we go king e8? No. No, but now rook e6, rook g6. This is, I'm pretty sure this is not a problem. And knight g8 was winning by force. Oh,
There you go. But why rook e8? No good.
rook e1, you mean? Yeah.
Rook e1,
I still don't see why. Yeah, I'm very confused. Also, let's try to at least solve one half of that equation. Why is knight g8 winning? I'm pretty sure the only problem and the only reason Fabi would not have played it is king e8, because let's to briefly show what's happening if you go in the other direction. Here you lose the g7, g6 pawn, and then you will lose this endgame quite prosaically. And if you go to g7, obviously in the same position, you cannot take because of the fork. So you go here. And yeah, and this is where it gets very confusing. I suspect the machine thinks... No. Honestly, yeah, rook takes... Yeah, I thought about like rook takes g6 and then...
Check, yeah.
This is... Whoa, this is beautiful. And now some kind of g6 or something, and black just gets torn apart.
Very funny construction after rook g7 that the knight on d8 covers e6.
Covers just everything, yeah. Whoa. Extremely beautiful, but also, I have to say, not something that very many people play.
It's just not a pattern we've ever seen before. Knight on d8, rook on g7.
Hang on. 96. Ah, and king c5 even. Whoa. And going that way as well.
It's nice.
No, it's extremely beautiful, but I don't think very many people can be blamed for not playing this in a practical game. It's a lot more difficult than it appears, and it appears very difficult, to be honest. In particular, you know, on the hour 6 of the game or whatever it is.
Yeah, and rook e1 looks so good, no?
Yeah, and also exactly this appears to be completely winning as well. So it's a lot of scope to get very confused here. Very impressive understanding of the position by Engine, of course, says James Double. Yeah, that's a good comment.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good comment. Very impressive indeed. Why is this not winning is a different question. Yeah, and Alireza is just quietly going about his business, not even going 96, goes 93 instead, which interposes on the third rank. Obviously, rook b3 no longer trades rook because we will take on a7 with check. Yeah,
He's gonna win.
frankly, yeah, just in cruise mode and playing good strong moves has been seemingly for the entire game.
That means if he does win, that Alireza will be the sole leader of the tournament. No pun.
No pun whatsoever. And Dubov plays bishop d7 nice, says Sachin Roy, which is seemingly indicating that this is the correct move and this is now not a clear position. But why isn't it? How do you defend against knight d8, knight takes e6? Could it really be that you go king e8 and just give up this exchange and somehow not lose that position? Or is it knight d8, maybe knight d2?
If it is, we can stop it.
Yeah, I don't know, this, to a human eye, I'm pretty sure this looks more winning than the previous one. Because you just expect that your absolutely superior piece activity and the passer on c7 will outweigh the puny, the puny one active knight.
And that is nice.
King b6, king b6, we go back to c4, yeah. Okay, then bishop e5 after knight d2, knight f3. This is surprisingly annoying to deal with, yeah.
Very jumpy horse.
Yeah, that horse is... Look at my horse. My horse is amazing. as we all know.
I'm also reading, but I'm not sure if that's accurate, that giving the exchange holds. Does it? Maybe. Dubov hanging in there.
Yeah, he is a good player, and he has shown very good patience here today. I mean, he got outplayed, and once again, the machine seems to indicate that Fabi, had he played a precise move and the previous move, was winning by fours. But I think this is a side of Dubov that you don't see very often. Dubov just defending a poor, unpleasant, passive position for hours on end against somebody who has made his name basically winning these positions against very strong players. Why isn't Bishop e5 winning right now?
I'm assuming you've spotted knight e5.
Knight e6 check. Knight c8.
I'm gonna lose, yeah?
I don't know, but I was hoping that this wins. Yeah, king d6, bishop c8, and rook b1. Appears to even be...
Looks pretty bad.
Yeah, that's actually easily winning, yeah. No, that's the one I was reasonably sure about. But the thing is, you can ignore bishop e5, I suppose, yeah. Just allow knight d6. I don't know, king e7, for instance, yeah. King e7, knight d6, bishop d6, king e8. And once again, it's grim, but maybe there's no way to break that blockade. Also, knight d6, rook takes e7 check is a bit of a problem, so
That's an issue.
I'm being an idiot again. There's bishop f6 check, though. I'm pretty sure I can get that position. Get it over to g8, then play knight d6.
Still looks horrible.
Yeah, like it's just so difficult to imagine this not being completely lost.
There's a question by Caxton. Does Alireza have a support team around him? Prep analysts, trainers? I think these things are probably being established right now. He moved to France a couple months ago, getting set up there. I'm not sure if there's any official dealings with the French Federation yet. I've heard some mumblings that they are already contacting people and arranging some trainings or asking people on his behalf, but I'm not sure if there's any official. You mentioned that he's also hanging out with Maxime and the gang of French guys at tournaments, so I would assume there's some cooperation there, and frankly, with the talent he's been showing, which is nothing we've seen since Magnus Carlsen, people won't exactly be reluctant to offer help and to find sponsoring and so on. So I'm not sure how clear the structure is right now, but I'm pretty sure it won't be a problem for him to get funding to work with who he wants to work with.
Should be. And Jordan now just, he found a very concrete way to win. He just started pushing everything. And here I think both bishop f3, bishop d3 and d3 all win. I guess the cleanest is bishop d3, after which you might not have to give up any material whatsoever. And the plan is just g3, g2, and there is no way to stop it. g3 allows bishop b2 check, so white will make more moves. I think by this point the quest for black is to win in as few moves as possible so that you can go have dinner. And I think that is best achieved by playing bishop d3. And then g3 check, g2, g1, and so on and so forth.
You cannot stop them all.
Yeah. Wojciech Reza says d3 is fastest. I really think they're all sort of the same speed, and I think all three probably force an immediate resignation.
Must be so annoying though if you're the G pawn here. You made it all the way here, and then they decide, nope, sorry, you sacrifice yourself so that Caesar can make it. You think, okay, why exactly? Why can't I be the winner? It's team sports, go around. Don't be upset.
Yeah.
This could have been you.
Yeah, and the "Bye Nikita, nice to beat you" has been mentioned more than once in chat. So what have you done? You've created a monster.
Nah, Jordan would never say that. He's very gracious in victory. And he's played d3.
Snake actually did not lose that queen endgame.
Snake stuff.
Snake is extremely tough. Kudos to Snake. G3 played, yeah, and as mentioned, there's really no difference between all these moves. In practical terms, all of them win.
Just too many pawns in the end. 4 guys can't be stopped. 3 guys you can maybe block with bishop and king. Not 4.
Not 4. And
That's also what Lawrence Strand told me.
Nikita does resign after d3 as expected.
Yeah. Shout out to Jordan. Like, showing good preparation, I think, as he has all tournament. I don't know this particular line, but he didn't seem very surprised by knight c2 and knight f4. Got a winning or a good position after 11 moves. Then got a winning position. Then blundered a piece, frankly. Allowed Nikita to make a comeback, but did not lose his cool and converted this.
Yeah, starting from bishop g6, once again a very quiet, calm conversion of the advantage by Jordan. So clearly a game he can very much count to his credit. Although in general against fields these stuff you do want to win all the pieces in 3 moves that are on offer, because if you don't, people will start, whizzling out somehow.
Still, he won't mind too much. And that brings Jordan van Foreest, the Dutch bottom seed, to +2 after 7 rounds, having won 3 games and lost 1.
And that's at least a tie for second. We do expect it to be a tie for third when everything is, when the round is finished, because Alireza is pretty much winning against Jeffrey, but extremely creditable results.
Still a tie for second, right? Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought for third? Yeah, that's...
No, you said it's a tie for second. Now we expect it to become a tie for third.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, okay, yeah. For second is... Yeah. More brain dead than usual this evening. But yeah, we expect after the Ferrugia game is over, for Ferrugia to lead on 5 out of 7 in his first ever Wike at the age of 16. Yeah, we live in exciting times.
History in the making.
And Wesley and Jordan on 4.5, and seemingly nobody else in plus, if I read this correctly. A long group of people in 50%, led by...
Dubov is currently in plus, but if he loses, he's not. While Fabi, if he wins, he will make it to +1. So one of the 2 guys will be in plus.
Can't even read a cross table.
Can you even read a forest tree? Sorry, joke for 3 people. Jeffrey Zhong will probably lose another game. And yeah, Kovalyov, Yu Yang Yi. Now also Nikita having tough tournaments. -2.
Yeah, Nikita is, this is not where I expected to find him. He did get this invitation very late in the year, which means that he probably could not put any kind of, specific pinpoint preparation in, which is something that he excels at. I know this firsthand because he helped me prepare for 2 candidate cycles and was very instrumental in me, for a change in both 2013 and 2014, definitely being in the top half of the prepared-unprepared split, which normally is very much not the case.
Very much so.
Yeah, and it was a very comfortable feeling, not to be worse with black in every game and actually occasionally get a good position with white. Very unusual, but very pleasant. I wonder if that's how people actually leave. But yeah, -2 without wins is still not what I expected, regardless of how late the invitation came. He is a very strong chess player who's had the best year of his career last year. Is Dubov actually holding this? King of 8 is a very clever move. We were playing King E7, and King of 8 instead is... Fabi is now kind of stuck, because the way pieces are positioned right now, knight takes e5 is a major threat. And if you go bishop d6 check back, we've just had this position after king e8. Maybe you can make an argument that knight takes e5 can be allowed, in particular if you play it cleverly enough. Like if you play rook b1 here, or rook a1 maybe? I don't know which one is stronger. I can meet knight e5 with king d6.
Wow.
Probably? Question mark, question mark? Bishop c6, knight d8 or some such. It's a very confusing position, but currently it feels to me like this might work. Bishop 6 I can actually even take on e5, like fe I think wins. Bishop c6, knight rook b1, which is kind of cute.
It's a weird game, this chess.
Yeah. Knight d8 wins again, I'm reading.
Apparently king f8 was not good.
Besides clever, king f8 is also a very losing move, says Iago666. Oh, there you go. What was he supposed to do?
Apparently king e7.
Really? Allowing bishop f6, bishop d8 was the better course of action? Once again,
Je ne sais pas.
yeah, once again, not something that very many people do in this position. Let's at least try to figure out why knight d8 is winning right now. Knight d8. If knight e5, I assume it's actually king d6 again? Question mark, question mark.
If takes, rook c7, rook a7, it's not over, yeah?
Or maybe we can go like, yeah, I don't know, what would you take with? Because all of them look kind of attractive, yeah? Rook a7 and now...
Are we sure it's winning?
Yeah, we're not sure at all, because the a pawn will actually start running, and we're not picking up all of them immediately at once. We are picking up on e6 and maybe g5, but not g6 even. And Fabi does play the move I mentioned, which is rook a1. There was something clever mentioned in chat there. After knight e5, king d6, black can play... Let me just show this. There is this sequence, knight b6 check, and knight a8, which is something I obviously missed. White probably is still much better though after something like king d6 here, because knight c7 loses a piece to king d7, and after rook c7 I go knight c5, and yeah, these pieces don't really spark much joy.
No. Marie Kondo would have thrown them out a long time ago.
She would.
I need to Marie Kondo my wardrobe. Have you ever done that?
We do that every now and again, but a very, very light version of Marie Kondo. Mainly we throw out stuff that no longer fits, which is still like half, you know, like 1/3 of the wardrobe or something.
Sorry. In the meantime, Firouzja Zhang is still ongoing, but we expect Firouzja to win without too much drama, I guess.
Yeah, bishop h1 is surprisingly not losing to anything, like 30 seconds, well, rook d3 maybe, but yeah.
It's a cute move.
It is a cute move, but obviously after rook d3 black can play, I don't know, bishop e4, or, and then king e6. It gets a bit tricky. I mean, you still play, I mean, there's also bishop f3. Maybe bishop f3 is stronger than bishop h1. I don't know why I immediately gravitated towards bishop h1. But yeah, we do expect, first and foremost, I think g5 check probably wins here, yeah, like g5 and then f5 in some good version. Maybe here immediately f5. And it feels like the g-pawn just wins, while black is trying to win the h3 pawn. White just makes so much progress that the g-pawn just wins. But still, yeah, kudos to Jeffrey for keeping it alive, sort of, and still asking questions.
Yeah, but it never feels, or it hasn't felt for a while, that he has a realistic survival chance.
Yeah, no, he is correct to continue. And rook d6, I think the intention by Ali Reza here is to meet king f7, maybe even with knight c4.
Night again.
Yeah, kind of really rubbing it in and continuing to collect material. But yeah, it does feel like we are witnessing Black quite properly continuing to ask questions. But yeah, Alireza not the type of a player here who will start making mistakes suddenly.
Terrible bad is saying. There are a couple of Chinese players that have a good shot at Magnus before Firouzja.
I don't know about
Couple?
a couple. Yeah,
Ding, I would sign.
Yeah, Ding definitely. But I guess on current form, probably it's more Wei than Yu Yangyi, because Yu Yangyi has been kind of, once again, it feels harsh, but kind of stagnating for a while, and even maybe, well, rating-wise, definitely he's fallen from, lofty heights of 2760-ish to 2725, and not doing particularly well here either.
So hurtful. Wang Hao just can't get on your radar. Like, you play a couple Thailand Opens, Peter just bans you from the radar. What does he have to do? Win the Grand Swiss, make the candidates beat 2760, just because of these two Thailand Opens?
I am just being very, very stupid.
Sometimes forget.
Yeah, it's been a long day, and it's been a particularly no, but that was an absolutely idiotic comment by me, and I want to own it, because like it really doesn't do to be that stupid. Yeah, not thinking of Wang Hao in that context is unforgivable. And
Wang Hao, if you're watching, I got your back. I believe you are the main threat in the world to me when it comes to the game where you nominate 3 categories and you have to be a 2-to-1 favorite, because I would go with chess, Plants vs. Zombies, Vacebreaker, and then some language test, German, English, Spanish. And I think Wang Hao is a favorite against me in both chess and possibly Plants vs. Zombies, Vacebreaker. So I'm scared of him. But
really, he's that good of a PvZ player?
I don't know, it's just my assumption. Nino Anton is also decent, but I think I can beat Nino Anton in Plants vs. Zombies, Vacebreaker. So I got nothing but respect for Wang Hao, that's what I meant to say.
And actually, although people obviously will now not believe me, neither have I. I mean, I rate him quite highly as a player. I was very happy to see him qualify from the Grand Swiss, where he was quite clearly the best player in the field. I'm just blanking really, really hard right now. I can't think.
Come on, I was just teasing. It's hour 6. No one has any idea what we're saying anymore. King G7.
Yeah, King G7 was sensibly sidestepping the Knight C4 E5 idea, but now probably F5 will end up winning by force, right?
Yeah, no.
GF, Knight F5, King F7, and then, well, something.
H4.
Yeah, H4. Also, I have a feeling Knight D4 is a winning Rook endgame, but the thing about winning Rook endgames, they're still Rook endgames, so I'd be very worried. But yeah, H4 is plenty good enough.
Yeah. So, what are your 3 disciplines? You have to nominate 3 disciplines, can be anything, like games, tests, really anything you can think of where you can compete against another human being, and you have to be a favorite versus everyone in the world, a 2-to-1 favorite. So you could post it online and accept any challenger. The rules are the challenger does not have more than a day to prepare.
Well, I'll have to pick chess, and as a second discipline, it's going to be chess, Hearthstone, and something.
Hearthstone is like a competitive game you play against someone else?
Mm-hmm. And the third discipline will be either I'm probably taking. Can I take like specific, like narrow disciplines within a discipline?
Depends how narrow. I'll judge harshly.
And Apetkov says chess, sarcasm, Hearthstone. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, specifically Russian billiards, not pool, not snooker.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Although, yeah, and this is immediately I'm being called out in chat, because Jan Nepomniachtchi has improved as a Russian billiards player significantly since I first encountered him, and I haven't been playing for the past 15 years, so maybe I'm an immediate dog even within my own community. So,
If you're a dog in every category, it's normally bad.
yeah. Okay, so let's replace. I feel like I can still take him at billiards. So let's replace. Let's keep billiards. Get rid of Hearthstone and include poker. So I will be a dog in 2 out of 3 against Grishuk, but he's not a billiards player at all. So I win the overall. I'm
Also,
pretty
you're
sure.
not a giant dog in chess against anybody.
No, not a giant dog, but like we have a rating list for this. Like I'm a dog against him in chess. I'm definitely a dog against him in poker, but I crush the billiards.
Poker
Like,
is a big or bigger luck factor. So if you're dominating billiards, chess, whatever, let's call it evens, and poker, you're worse, but there is the luck element. Yeah, probably good. Like he probably wouldn't take you up on that challenge. Is what I'm saying.
yeah, it doesn't seem like a very plus EV situation for him, but who knows?
So what does poker mean? Like a heads up match and a discipline?
In the discipline of my choosing, probably, yeah, which would be once again against in my head there's this heads up I have against Sasha, and I kind of want to like offer to buy out before it starts, and I can't even choose a discipline there because I play some weird things, but he plays
Also, Nepomniachtchi, you're not afraid of Nepomniachtchi with the poker?
no.
But even if you're a favorite, if you're an underdog in billiards, then it's probably plus EV for him, no?
I don't think I'm a huge dog in billiards though.
Okay. That's important.
Meantime, there's been a lot of developments in this endgame, and people were praising 92 to the skies. So it seems like Dubov might actually be holding this. We actually had this endgame on the board sometime earlier. First of all, what do you take with? Because d takes c4 feels like it's an ambitious try, but I feel like it's an ambitious try to lose.
I'd be scared somehow.
Yeah,
just
allowing d5.
instinct.
Yeah, allowing d5 and losing is probably not the board, not the best business practice.
There must also be someone who's amazing at poker and Russian billiards. But then again, poker with the luck, if you dominate chess, yeah, you're probably okay. So,
Yeah, the suggestion is that d takes c4 is absolutely the only move here, which is stunning. Because I'd be so worried I just at some point allow d5, and with an additional open file everything just collapses.
why is this so horrible?
I have no idea. I am really very, very confused. I guess there's some kind of a zugzwang where the rook gets to c6 and we lose, like rook a5. But I can't play rook g8, right? Or maybe bishop f6 d8 is the reason. Maybe we create a situation where the bishop cannot move, and eventually the rook has to move, and then we play bishop f6. And with the bishop on d8, it's obviously it's just black will run out of moves sooner or later. Chess, cricket trivia, self-deprecation. I think a lot of British people will destroy me in that trifecta. No, it's not a trifecta, but like a triathlon is the word I'm looking for. And Alireza now is just giving mate to go with his absolutely overwhelming position and 2 pawns up. He is also just basically queening the g-pawn with checks, which is useful.
Jake Lones is saying, I think Stephen Hendry might have decent odds against you in poker and Russian billiards. I don't know, there is a billiards player?
Stephen Hendry is an absolute legend of snooker, but basically any kind of a professional snooker player will take. Well, if there's a day to prepare, by the end of that day, I will have no shot against him in Russian billiards for sure. But I don't know about his poker skills. A lot of them do play poker, but I don't know how well.
I feel your disciplines are a little too close. That's why I threw the language test in there. If you have like a Russian-English language test, you eliminate so much of the competition.
Yeah, That's not a bad shout as well either. Yeah. I just and Kunisada says I've played poker versus him. He is decent. That's not that's a reasonably unhumble brag, and I kind of envy you because he is a legend, and I'll trust your word for it. And Steve Davis used to play chess as a kid. That's an understatement of the year. He was at some point an ECB president, so like only saying that he used to play chess as a kid is underselling the story of Steve Davis as a chess player quite
Fair,
a bit.
but for the purposes of our discussion, he has absolutely zero shot against you in chess.
Sure. No, it's just that somebody brought up Steve Davis, and I felt that story needs to be set straight there. He has had a lot of connection with chess, and the years when he was the ECB president, at least I recall the players were reasonably happy. I don't know if you can say those were the golden years of English chess, but I recall Mickey in particular telling me that Steve is a very nice guy to have around, and also does a lot of good for the game. Okay, so without bringing the Firouzja position on the board, we can't say that he's completely winning now. What's happening here? Is it actually honest to God holding? Like, so confusing.
So we need this pawn to stop any c-file activity, and d5 just
No, actually,
does anyway.
let's check. d5.
We don't have a check.
I do appreciate that. d5, ed, rook d1.
Chessbra saying I can beat Jan in 2 out of his 3 disciplines. First of all, chess? German, English, Spanish language test? Plants vs. Zombies Vacebreaker? Sounds very hard to believe. Which ones?
Yeah. That's fighting words, Eric, but we are not buying it for 1 second.
I don't think that's Eric.
Oh, okay. If that's not Eric, then yeah, I can't read. It's been well established by this point that I can't read, can't name Chinese chess players. Also, probably I'm just pretending I can play any of the games I said I would play in that triathlon. So, also can't pronounce triathlon. Worth a damn.
Would you like to apologize?
Yeah, problems everywhere. I will pick arm wrestling against any chess player, says MSU 105. I would like to. There's been some stories because Ryazantsev broke a guy's arm wrestling, and there are some scary people out there. Dreyev in particular, and but not just Dreyev. I mean, there are some people out there I understand you are probably good at it, but what I'm saying is not all chess players would be a pushover in that contest.
Kamsky gets mentioned. I don't know. Is he a legend of arm wrestling?
Not too
Probably strong, but
he's pretty wiry, but I don't know if he beats Dreyev. Or
Jarper is saying Peter's a great goalkeeper.
I used to be, but not anymore now. I'm still better than I look. Let's put it like this. But yeah, I'm nobody's idea of a great goalkeeper anymore.
Where's Ali Reza at? Finishing?
Winning by force. Yeah, King G8, G6, Rook H3, 97, check, game over.
So probably resignation incoming. King G8 plate.
Yeah, just G6. I mean, maybe you can postpone the inevitable by going like full passive, like Rook A2. No, but that doesn't save either.
Was Ali Reza on the rating list? One Trick Pony saying Ali Reza making it to top 20 with today's win. Climbing up.
Let's open a bad gateway.
Still bad.
Yeah, it's all the people crashing
believe
the
it.
servers, crashing the servers, trying to find out where Alireza is.
Where Alireza at?
Yeah.
Cthulhu is saying, isn't Jan an accomplished sailor? No, I'm not. My dad is. I can't sail at all.
What are Firoza's chances of winning the 2020 candidates? Asks John Wonderwall. And by this point, I really don't know if that's trolling or not. Like all of my calibrations are completely off,
You trolled her?
and that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to be able to do it. So Alireza's game is probably about to end.
Yeah, and the one line that you have to calculate after g6 is rook h3, and g6 has been played. And after rook h3, g7, bishop f7 is a bit tricky. But knight e7, rook f7, rook h7, and g7 just wins on the spot. Because of the pin along the h file, black cannot play bishop f7, and yeah, here we just queen the pawn. Yeah, and I think Jeffrey knows this is coming, but there's nothing he can do about it, so he will ask Alireza to demonstrate up to, I suppose, rook h7 and g7, and then just resign.
H3 played, knight e7 blitzed out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure they both know, but you do ask to show you at least the first move of the sequence.
Slavo F is asking, does anyone win his first super tournament before? Well, if he wins this one, it's going to be tough. Other than that, I'd still take Geary.
It's like if we decide not to troll and to address the actual question, very much depends on the definition of a super tournament, right? Kasparov, maybe?
I thought the question was, is anybody else a favorite to win their first super tournament before Alireza does, like in the future?
No, I read it differently. I read,
who won
yeah, like
a super tournament younger?
a historic record. It's definitely not Magnus, because he started playing them extremely young, and he was doing okay in some of them, but not winning
Didn't win at 16,
by any stretch. Yeah.
He did win Vike at 17, I think. But
Yeah, but it wasn't even an age question. It was their first ever, and that's a very specific condition, which in Magnus's case has not been met. He played Vikes and scored poorly in his first YK, and he played Linares's and didn't do well. So. Yeah, I'd go with Kasparov, but also because I think even the conversation about super tournaments only started reasonably recently, and like somebody like, for some reason I want to say Pillsbury. I don't know of his historic record. This is where we would need to. I'm pretty sure there's a number of people in chat who have a much better grasp on like properly ancient chess history.
he was a wunderkind, Pillsbury.
Yeah, I think he burst onto the scene and did extremely well. But has he actually won the first one he ever played that we today would call a super tournament? Is
Kamsky gets a mention at 16. Tilburg, Interpolis. Very possible.
I would very much like to know what exactly you Googled. That's a very good reply, and maybe could very easily be true. But yeah, how did you phrase the question to actually get a Google reply this quickly? And like, no sarcasm intended in my question. I would really like to learn efficient Googling. This does sound like something that would require me like half an hour of painstaking research.
He's saying chess youngest super tournament winners. Makes sense.
I would assume this doesn't really give you any workable results, but I guess I was wrong.
Let me recreate it for you.
And yes, Jeffrey does resign after G7. We're being told not. That's slightly different. No, we're getting very different results from what you were getting, but
Hu Yifan was a world champion at age 16. But still, yeah, somewhat different answer.
yeah, that's a different conversation. Although obviously an incredibly impressive record.
Hook 33 saying Jan doesn't know the copy paste option yet. Fair enough. Jan doesn't know the scroll option. Congrats to Ali Reza, who moves into
+3.
clear first in this tournament.
Yeah, +3 clear first. And the results seem to not have been updated yet, but they should update any moment. Yeah. Somehow on our screens this game is not finished yet, which is a bit bizarre.
By the way, in this, has anybody else ever won their first super tournament? I came so close.
That is very true. I was rooting for you so hard in that Dortmund.
Heartbreaking. Story of my life. But Ali Reza. Who's a favorite to win the tournament now? Is it Ali Reza? Is it Wesley? Is it still Magnus?
On this form, he won 4 out of 7 games. That's obscene. That should bore illegal. That should not be allowed. I think it's between him and Wesley, and I don't know who I pick, honestly, because I don't know about you. My brain says Wesley is still a safer pick, long distance. A lot more experience. Has experience of actually winning Vacances before, but watching Alireza play, like betting against him, just feels wrong.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Also, Wesley is incredibly stable, but usually he doesn't put together many wins in a row because of his solid chess. While Alireza has shown he can, he's less solid. I don't know. I think you gotta go with him because of the half-point lead now, but it's anybody's guess. Also, Magnus, I can never write him off until he's eliminated because he can put together a string of wins, but he hasn't been showing it so far.
Yeah,
in this
once again, yes, we understand that he's had slow Vikes before and just then exploded and started crushing anybody, but that normally started happening earlier than round 8. This is now 7 rounds gone. 7 draws out of 7, and as we keep on returning to, it's not just that he has not been winning. He's been balancing on a knife edge and could have arguably lost at least a couple. I mean, was worse in many, but actually lost. I think today he came very close, and also, which one was the worst one of the bunch?
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Of the Carlsen games, which one was, apart from today, where it really did feel like Bishop H6 was instead of Rook B4, Vichy would have.
Well, against Jordan, D takes C4, arguably. He's in real big trouble. Against Jeffrey Jean, was he lost at some point? I'm not sure. But one thing that I wanted to mention, which I think is very true. If Fabi wins today, he might be the favorite above everybody else because he is still Fabi. And if he's at +2, 4.5 out of 7, he can put together many wins while being super solid.
Yeah,
so then I choose him over, I think, Firouzja. So
only also has already played Magnus, which once again in this tournament is less of a scary proposition than it normally is, but still remains a very, very difficult game for anybody. And judging once again by the chat reaction, getting the king over from d7 to b7 has been a mistake by Dubov, and Fabi might now once again be a favorite to convert this into a full point.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
not fair to compare this with engines after 6 hours of play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still very good to know.
Yeah, and he could have just continued passing with the rook, keeping the king on d7, where it was very safely located. But he went with king c8, king b7, and Fabi instantly replies bishop f6, reminding Dubov that the bishop can still get to good squares, and then perhaps there finally will be threats. Do you think that Ding is better than Caruana right now? It's a very difficult thing to judge.
Also depends how you define better. He's had a better 2019. I don't think anybody would argue that much. For me, but I could be wrong, it's just my gut feeling, I would think that Fabi's chances to win the candidates are still slightly higher than Ding's because of more experience, arguably better infrastructure, trainers, team, and so on. But Ding has been incredibly impressive in 2019, and I think it's quite clear the two of them are heavy favorites in front of everybody else.
Yeah, I think it's basically a split of 2 and 6, and among the six, the six, I think it's very difficult to pick favorites. But pretty much anybody's list, if you ask, will start by saying that it's either one of the two, probably.
Yeah, that's not a question. The question is if you can pick between the two at this
Yeah,
stage.
it's very difficult for me. I don't know what to think on that topic. Fabi's, yeah, it still feels like Fabi can generally rack up higher scores. Is a lot more dangerous in like a single chosen game.
Yeah, also in a way, but I could be wrong about this. I don't know how Ding is preparing, but I would think also in a single chosen tournament, because at this stage in Fabi's career, of course, he wants to do well in every tournament. That's really about winning the candidates and then beating Magnus, and not about winning Vike. Not that he's not going to try. Then again, I guess the same is true for Ding. I'm not really sure what I'm saying.
And Dodgy, with a serious message for a change, says Ding has by far the best score versus the other candidates, which is not irrelevant at all. Yeah, it's yeah, the head-to-heads count for something. Here, I still don't see how White wins after King B7, which is kind of embarrassing. Like there should be a way. I guess we go like Rook B2, King C8, Rook B1 or something, and it's a Zugzwang of some sort. Oh, that probably is the solution, right? Rook B2 creating the threat of Rook B5, King D7, queening the C pawn. Now we go, let's say, Rook B3, Rook B2, B1. Oh, yeah, I want to control the C pawn, which is why not Rook B4, C3.
You move, sir.
Yeah, and it seems like the rook has to go, and then we can take on E6. And once we take on E6 and we have two passes, yeah, it should be.
Point.
It should just be quite easy because we pick it up and then we go back to the previous setup. Yeah, looks like after a valiant 65 move defense. What? Ah, okay, maybe this also wins. Fabio says, I can also just win the pawn on G6 and then queen the G pawn.
Fair. Mr. Dodge is saying Ding is +7, Van Hout +2, Grishuk and Caruana +1.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. It's just that Rook B2, Rook B1 appeared to be sort of winning on the spot, but I guess this also is, frankly. There's just nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Rook F8 played by Dubov. This is maybe the one last try. You give up on E6, but you do get to activate your rook here after like Rook E8, Rook E3, whatever that does. I don't know what that does.
Defense Trader is saying, I don't think that head-to-head scores against the field is a good predictor of performance in the candidates. I'm not sure. I did all this before 2018 there. It didn't help much, but it's so hard to say. What is a good predictor? I would say, from what we've seen, past performance in candidates is the most reliable.
Yeah.
But
Give me a second.
Sure. Peter's gone. That gives us a chance to catch up with Why does this not work? With the challenges, I was gonna say, but it's a rough day in Techyanistan, so it might not give us a chance. Give me a sec. Here we are in the challengers group. Nihal Sarin won his game against Dinara Sadvakasova, the Rook Endgame. Looked very, very unpleasant, and indeed, Dinara did not manage to hold it, so full point for the 15-year-old Indian prodigy there. Erwin Lamé, Jan Smeets managed to draw this unpleasant looking queen endgame they had on the board earlier. Vincent Keimer, I think he's also 15-year-old German prodigy, drew his game against David Anton, Spanish, I think number 2, even though I never know who's ahead between him and Paco, but I think Anton is currently number 2. Elyanov, we've seen, drew with white against Lucas van Foreest. Niels Grandelius drew against Abdu Sattarov, the third 15-year-old in the field. Anton Smirnov drew against Max Varmadam from a position where he was in trouble. And Ganguly draws against Mamedov in the standings in the challenger section. That means that Pavel Elyanov is in the sole lead. Very experienced Ukrainian player, was a member of the Ukrainian team that won the 2004 Chess Olympiad in Calvia, Mallorca, as was Sergei Kayakin back then. So Pavel's been around, and yeah, we've kept mentioning that he feels underrated at 2.650. He's usually 2.720-ish, that's his usual level, so not surprised to see him do well here. Ganguly half point behind, Lamy half point behind. Then we have a bunch of guys on +1 here, 4 out of 7. Some on 50%, and Sadvakasova and Max Varmadam having a tough tournament thus far. And Peter's back again. We are left with one game in the Masters tournament where Fabiano Caruana seems to be grinding down / outplaying. I'm not sure which one.
I really like the Rook A3 touch because when Black has to spend a number of moves, even starting to push the C pawn from C4 to C3. I mean, counterplay against the white king side will never cut it. Daniel is now reduced to playing Rook E4 here, but the G pawn just wins. The counterplay that could have been fast enough was some kind of C3, Bishop D3, C2 really, really quickly, but by starting with Rook A3, I think Fabi has quite effectively prevented any of that. After Rook takes F4, I would play something like King H6 simply, and then just start pushing, and eventually the combined C7 and G7 pawns should win. Really don't foresee any serious difficulties in converting this.
So if Caruana wins this, it puts him at +2 in shared second place with Jordan van Foreest and Wesley So half point behind Alireza Firouzja, who's leading the tournament all by himself.
And Spikook says, why allow Rook takes H4 though? Yeah, I mean King takes H5 is also good, but I think we're just winning by force here, so I didn't like allowing some kind of C3 Bishop E2 check ideas here. Specifically that I think was kind of unnerving me. We're probably winning anyway, but did not want to give Black that additional shot. Just generally keeping the king on a square where it cannot be checked by either the rook or the bishop seemed like a decent idea. Although king h6, rook d4 might be interesting. g6, rook d6.
What's your point? King h7, bishop e8?
King
or-
h7, yeah, I'm losing my mind here. Bishop e8, bishop f7, but we lose, yeah, we never hold these. Yeah, even that, yeah, eventually these pawns will start to fall.
It's not a Vitigo fun for a situation.
No.
All right. Good job by Caruana. Tough day for Dubov, who defended, at least from over here, it looked like tremendously well for a couple hours. Still did not manage to hold. Yeah, it's so annoying to lose these 7-hour games, because not only are you losing the point, you're also losing so much energy, and you know you have tough game the next day, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you expend so much energy on this, and then to have this empty feeling of it being completely for naught and is not fun at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Tough day.
if Vaikanze was, more of a shopping paradise, we could expect maybe some more Balenciagas on show tomorrow, but it's
You haven't
difficult.
been to the supermarket?
I have, but I don't know how many Balenciaga outlets they actually.
But Amsterdam is only half an hour by car away, so if Danny really wants, he can make it there. Not tonight, probably.
Probably not tonight, yeah.
So, yeah. Those shouldn't both be completely white.
Yeah, that's...
No, actually they should, because it means white is winning. No, it's a bit confusing, because Dubov is losing. So, yeah, Fabi will jump to 4.5. That's all there is.
Fabio once again making sure to make us look stupid by taking on h5, and by us I mean me. But yeah, I guess there's no real reason to worry about that c3 bishop e2 line, because eventually white still has enough runners to win. I was also... Hang on a sec. Can we have a look at something? Bishop e8 check. I figured it out. Rook g4, rook a6. I wanted to give up the bishop on g6, but the thing is, after bishop takes g6, white probably plays king h6 and then queens the c pawn.
Why can't I take f4?
No, I think one of them actually queens here after f4. It might not be enough, but I'm pretty sure one of them actually queens. Probably something like bishop g5, f3, bishop e3, and then queening the h-pawn with check is faster. But this is what I wanted to check on the board, to see if this is a trivially winning position for white or not. And actually, who knows? Like, probably is, yeah, but...
Not what you want from where we came from.
Although it is just trivially winning, actually. But yeah, the sad part is that move to 74, white can just play... Yeah, okay, it's gone now, but... After rook a6, bishop g6, white just goes king h6, and there's no stopping rook a8 check, which is a lot simpler. And
You can take with the rook.
rook a8 check. Yeah, there's no mate on the h5. c8 is also a check.
Check.
Yeah, c8 is also I wanted to say a mate, but after king d7 it isn't. Here it is. Yeah, here it's a very
efficient.
A very cute little checking setup. Dubov took on d4. Yeah, and now they just start running, and actually in positions like this, I think it's obviously quite a welcome addition for white to have the h-pawn as backup. g6, king bishop e8, we go king h5, king h6, and we also have an additional option of h5 if we need, yeah. Also a6 is hanging, and I keep on forgetting about it. Is tomorrow a rest day? No, as far as I know, tomorrow is still a game day. We have a rest day on Monday, right?
Yeah. By the way, also shout out, well, we've given him many shout outs, but to Ed Jordan V for race 2 now is up to, I think, 2664, number 70 in
Number
the world,
70,
somewhere around there.
yeah. I've seen 75, but
75.
yeah, he probably is maybe even higher than that. We could try
No,
to
very
check,
possible.
but we do appear to have gateway problems.
Here we are at 2700chess.com. I guess this is
Yeah,
live.
75.
Your
Winning
number,
20
75.
points. Yeah, it must be nice to win 20 points of anything. Jordan is doing some magic in hometown. That's not entirely his hometown, but the point stands.
He's from Groningen.
Yeah, well, I mean, how big is the country? Come on. Everything is hometown.
Groningen is like next to Hamburg.
Is it?
No, it's 3 hours, but it's closer than Amsterdam or Wijk.
And Fedorovich says 4 rounds on the trot is too much at this level, I think. I don't know if that's tongue in cheek, because Wijk actually has some of the, arguably maybe the most relaxed schedule in terms of rest days out of all the super tournaments. Apart from maybe the candidates, but the candidates is a very standalone event where the pressure really is far, far above everything else that the round robin circuit offers, and there we do get, I think, like 3 rest day kind of schedule. But Wijk has 3 rest days for 14 rounds, which is
Sleepy Mario is saying Groningen to Weichensee surely isn't 3 hours by car. No, I meant Hamburg to Groningen. I don't know how far Groningen to Wijk is. 2 hours?
We've actually done that one year. In 2018, Chess on Tour 1 round was in Groningen. It wasn't very far. It was about 2 hours by car, I think. Yeah, Dortmund also has a quirky schedule for a 7-round round robin.
I heard that was in huge part because Kramnik is the king of Dortmund and he really liked some rest days, but now that he probably won't be playing anymore since he retired from classical chess, I'm not sure what's going on there. I also heard, I'm not sure if this is official or confirmed or anything, there won't be 7 rounds this year at all, so I'm not sure what's going on in Dortmund. Peter de Vries is saying 230 kilometers. What's that? Wijk Groningen?
Probably, yeah. Rook d6 played by Dubov with a somewhat transparent trick of g7, bishop e8 check, and then rook g6 check, and then rook takes g7, which might still lose after rook takes a6 in the end. But we obviously play king g5 first, and then h5, and yeah, and this is why you take on h5. This is why Fabi is better at converting completely winning positions than I am. I think the second part of that 2-part cheapo setup is king g5, rook d3. Because on the previous move, rook d3 would completely lose to g7. And here after g7, there's rook takes a3, of course. g7, rook a3, king f4.
That's good. It's like the end of a study.
Yeah, it does. It does look like some kind of a study-like finish. Has the added benefit of actually seemingly being correct, right?
Probably still lost.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. C-pawn is running, yeah. Why'd you have to go and spoil my beautiful thing? But yeah, good point. Rook f3 is a typical tactical detail, but it's important to know that these things exist, and Jan spotting it is an educational moment. I will endeavor not to miss those things again.
Beer de Vries is saying Wijk to Hamburg is 480 kilometers. Sounds about right. Yeah. What's Hamburg to Groningen? Like 300, right? So it all falls down.
Yeah, and Azurm is confirming that even the cheapo doesn't work because rook takes a6 at the end works there. So perhaps g7 is actually the fastest way to win here. Rook a6, and there's just no way to keep the material. And once again, the pawn on h4 comes. Well, not to the rescue exactly, but it's an important pawn because it secures the white victory here.
Speckcook is saying, I'd guess a lot more than 300 kilometers. Okay, we must find out. I has phones.
Well, Jake Lone says 300, so.
Trust him.
Well, he says he says what you would like to hear, so we obviously instantly trust him and disregard everything else. Isn't that how that works?
That's fair. Mm-hmm. 296. Yeah, 298 from where we are. All right, Fabi. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. We do have to mention that this is actually the final, the final time trouble. There will be no time added. So thankfully, this is the last calculations they will have to do. And King G5 instantly met by Rook D3 here by Dubov. Let's see if Fabi also goes for glory here with G7, which I really think he will not. I don't think it's in his style necessarily. Also probably other things just to win very comfortably, something like Rook A1, and then just start pushing your two passers. Will there be a recap video today? Probably not, frankly. I feel very, very dead and... Whoa! Okay.
G7 happened. Is he going for
You
King
can,
F4 or
you can,
King G6? You can do.
Yeah, you can play King H6 and Bishop G5.
King
G6,
H6.
G6, C... They're both...
G7, C3. What's going on? Can we queen?
No,
Rook G3.
Rook G3 check still exists, yeah. No, but now something like King somewhere in Bishop G5 should win, right? What's happening?
He wants Bishop C4, but we
yeah.
also have Rook A6 business as usual.
Maybe King F4 actually and just give mate? There should be mate there somewhere, right? Oh no, I'm running into C1 check. Yeah, yeah. C1 check is not a great idea. How about King H? Oh, it's actually so difficult to find a good square. King H6, I really do like King H6. C2 G8. He played King takes F5. There was something I didn't like about King takes F5. I can't recall what. Yeah, this is obviously my big point. Bishop G5 discovered check, and then we take on C1. But Fabi opts for King takes F5 instead. It's similar, but there was something I didn't quite like about that move, but I can't recall what that was anymore. Sad state of affairs. C2 G8 is the same type of idea. I'm guessing Bishop C4 he wants to take on A6, reminding Dubov once again that he has plenty of those guys running.
Looks good. Who else is there? Rook G3, Bishop G5. Or...
Rook G3, yeah, I think Bishop G5 is simple. Actually, Rook takes C3. I calculated that and then I forgot again. Oh, what am I saying? Rook G7. Jesus. Bishop G5, Bishop C4, I thought. Maybe. Because now Rook A6 is not as strong as it used to be. It doesn't create a mating threat. We can go C2 here. Returning to the topic of drinking, said Philidor Position, was Kramnik really as bohemian as he says he was? Yeah, he was. He led a very wild life in the first 20 to 25 years. He's definitely not exaggerating. There is a famous Vichy story on the topic, which I'm sure all of you know about. I think a VB tournament in Amsterdam. I think it's 96. That dates to 96, but maybe 95. That Vichy came down for breakfast one morning, as he in those years always did and continues to do now. I also meet him at breakfast quite often, and to his huge surprise, he met Kramnik there for the first time in the entire tournament, and you have to understand that the VB Bank tournaments in those years were absolute top notch. They were very much the elitist of the elite tournaments of the era. So Vishy is somewhat surprised. He says, "So Vladi, you finally decided to wake up at a normal hour?" And Vladi says, "What? I haven't gone to bed yet. What are you talking about?" Yeah, he used to have a very laissez-faire attitude to healthy living and sleeping schedules and things of that nature.
You will know better. The story is that he really changed his lifestyle preparing for the 2000 match, right? That he started doing sports, less partying, healthy living, all that stuff.
He was always quite fit, and he always did sports, but he combined it with with living at large, and he took it very, very seriously prior to London. I don't know if that was the absolute watershed, but I suspect it was, yeah.
So how about now that he's no longer playing classical chess? Can he go back to his... I guess you can't go back to partying when you're in your 40s, right?
Well, I mean, two children and all that entails. I don't think he is ever going back to exactly what he was doing when he was much, much younger. But I think he is living a reasonably relaxed life right now. Not wild, but not entirely buttoned up either.
So how do we win here?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Like we should just win, like h6,
F4.
h6, h7. I mean, just the c pawn is now completely controlled. So I think we just he goes rook a6. Maybe just rook a6, rook e. No, that would be too fanciful once again. Yeah, we could have a lot of fun here after rook a6, king c7, rook e6, and then they play a g pawn queen ending for another 57 moves, but that's not going to happen. I suspect this is actually quite easily winning, in particular for machines, because of how poorly located the black king is. It should be somewhere around b1, I guess. Yeah, in these positions you're supposed to run very, very quickly towards a2, b1, those types of squares, and I don't think it gets there, because with white to move, I think we can make so much progress when the king is still on bad squares. But yeah, I don't think Fabi ever does this. Yeah, the question, how could Kramnik be working so much and consistently for such a long time with that kind of lifestyle? He always had a tremendous work ethic, and also probably he is blessed with very good genes, because you do need to have good tolerance for things, for the kind of that kind of life to not affect you negatively too much. I mean,
Also, he was in his late teens and early 20s. No, you find time.
Yeah. What's happening here? Is there any argument for going rook c6 here? c1, g8 simply. Bishop g8, rook c1, and saying this position I will actually win. And I don't need to calculate anything anymore.
Rook c6? Ugh. Sorry.
Well, I've been doing this for a while, so no blame attaches. Yeah, c1, g8, rook bishop g8, rook c1. Probably is completely winning, but...
Looks pretty good. Speaking of which, Curb returning tomorrow. It's a big day.
Is it? Season, what, 9?
10, I would guess.
Even 10, huh? How old is he now?
Harry Geary is saying, no looking at the B group. It's over, I just summed it up like half an hour ago. We also looked at the results. Pavel Yanov in the lead. Larry David can't be young, must be in his 70s, no? Larry David. Yeah, 72.
But still a legend, right? Still can be counted upon. Have you seen? Because I'm afraid enough that I actually haven't looked, and I don't know if I will look. But I think there's actually a season 4 of Arrested Development.
I've only seen the first 2, but I was never an Arrested Development head. Season 4 is the one they did on Netflix after the break, right? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and I also agree, like I've never been as big of a fan of the show as some people are. You know, there's definitely some people out there who think it's an absolutely best thing since sliced bread. I was never in that camp. But I really did enjoy the first 3 greatly. I mean, they are good, wholesome family fun, haha. But yeah, season 4 just scares me. I just feel that there's such a tremendous scope for horrible disappointment that I don't want to do that to myself. Pairings for tomorrow. The big one for Aist, Firouzja.
And it's a pretty big one.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding. And on that topic, have we actually established how you're supposed to pronounce his name?
Firouzja?
Yeah, like what's that?
I think we've been winging it a bit, so if anybody out there knows and could let us know, that'd be welcome. I say Firouzja, but yeah, I've never really.
I have a feeling it's a more complicated sound. Like it's not a straight zh sound. It's probably something more guttural than that. But I don't know. And yeah, I think I've already used like 6 slightly different versions of the same pronunciation. None of them entirely correct. So if
it's already 7 different suggestions how to pronounce it.
So Firouzja, yeah, there should be like a it's not just a zh. There has to be at least a hint of the z in it, and it feels like learning how to pronounce that name is going to be a large part of our jobs going forward.
Be important for sure. Yeah. Firouzja.
Yeah,
so not just
So on the topic of tomorrow's pairings, they've already disappeared, but
sorry for all the mess.
Yeah, apart from the Jordan versus Firouzja game, there is the Carlsen-Vitugov game, which once again we keep on giving the speech more or less every round now. Magnus will be really itching to actually win a game somewhere, and White against Nikita, normally not a given, and seemingly Dubov just resigned here because the game disappeared. Not really that unexpected, because the c-pawn is completely under control, and the h-pawn just continues running. White just has everything well in hand here.
So in the standings, that means that Fabi catches the Pursuivants in form of Wesley So and Jordan van Foreest. Here we see the top half. And will be an exciting, I was going to say finish, but it's still 6 rounds. It's
exactly, yeah.
It's not a short tournament.
It feels like they are nearing the finishing straight, but this is like the entire Dortmund almost still to be played. So yeah, lots and lots of uh, excitement ahead of us, and yeah, the highlights in terms of pairings tomorrow are definitely Jordan, who has been very good with the white pieces in this tournament against Alireza, and obviously Caruana Anand is always a good pairing. But Vishy has been a little bit nondescript in this tournament so far. Lost an unpleasant game to Wesley, won a good game against, who did he beat?
My brain is melted, John.
Yeah, he beat Jeffrey, and today had a nice position against Magnus. Then had actually a dubious position against Magnus for a couple of moves, and then had a nice position again, but all ended peacefully.
That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties and the fatigue difficulties. It's been a fun round. See you tomorrow, same time, same place, if you want to, for round number 8.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.